This is a Miami Sports Music Podcast Network production. This is the #1 Miami fan morning show. Clock Blockers, let's go!
I know the whole city riding. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter column. Whole squad been trained to go. Fence for life, we throw the foe. Singing this just to welcome bro.
Two a time. Time to grind, time to shine. What's up, baby? It's Spread Kindness Friday. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Super excited to be hanging out with you all today. Good morning to my Fins family, my Fin-laws. It is the #1 Miami fan morning show. It is Clock Blockers right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. What's up? Salute to you all. Are y'all ready for a show today? I don't think y'all are ready for the show today. I don't think y'all are ready for Spread Kindness Friday. Day. What is up, man? For those of you who don't know, I am your host, Stephen Daniels. You can follow me on all social media at StephenDSKPL. Spread kindness, positivity, and love. Make sure you follow me there on all social media, including Twitter. Follow me on the Twitter and the TikTok and the Instagram and all those little social media things, okay? At StephenDSKPL. You can also follow Miami Sports Music everywhere at Miami Sports Music, except on Twitter, where we are at MIA Sports Music. Want to remind you all, too, on your way in, hit the like button. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. Just hit the like button. Only 4 likes right now. Hit it. Tap it. Go like this. Tap. Whatever you got to do. Just tap the like button. Doesn't cost anything. It's free. Okay. Hey, if you do want to subscribe to the channel, that's also free. Subscribe to the channel. When you do hit subscribe, you will hit the bell notification along with it, and you hit all. That way you get notified anytime Miami Sports Music goes live, anytime Solo D drops a new track, anytime any of that stuff happens, you will be the first to know as long as you're subscribed to the channel and hit the bell notification. Also, if you want to become part of the family, that's right, family, make sure you guys sign up today to become part of the family. In the description below, you will see a link to sign up to become part of the family as a member of the channel. Well, Stephen, how do I do that? Well, let me tell you, it's very easy. There's a couple things that you can do. Number one, first thing is you guys sign up to become part of the family, and then you pick your membership. There's 3 different memberships. There's DWA, there's DWA Loyalty, and DWA Loyalty for Life. I would love to see 3 new members join the channel today. I just put the link in the chat. Can we get 3 new members to the channel today? 3 new members. It would be absolutely amazing if we could do that. All right. Sign up to become part of the family today. There are plenty of seats waiting at the table for you. Would love for you to be a positive and steady influence right here on the Clock Blockers #1 Miami fan morning show. If you guys want to donate to the channel and help the channel grow, there's a few different ways you can do it. You can use the YouTube live super chat, which is the $ below the bottom of the chat. You can click that. You can use super chat or super sticker, whatever it is. You guys can do that, and it helps the channel and it's able for me to do this on a daily basis, Monday through Friday, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. We're getting into the season, which means shows will be more consistent as we go along. It was the off season. It's a little crazy, family time, but hey, training camp's right around the corner, which means we're going to have continuous content and coverage throughout the Miami Dolphins football season. You guys can also, if you want to donate, use Cash App or PayPal, $MSM Podcast Network, or use the QR code that's right on your screen, or MSM Podcast Network, or use the QR code that's right on your screen. Want to give a big shout out to our sponsors of the show, ZSM Sports. ZSM Sports, the #1 place to get your cards, jerseys, balls, and hard-to-find items. Make sure you follow ZSM Sports today on Instagram at SportsZSM. Hit up Zach. Let him know I sent you, and he will take care of you. Lime, less is more events. Lime Tickets, the #1 place to get your concert tickets, your game tickets, any tickets to any event you want to across the country for less than the competition, allowing you to have more fun. Give them a call today at 202-930-3533. Let them know I sent you here at Miami Sports Music, and they will take care of you guys. And the best part is, absolutely zero service fees. So the price you hear is the price you get. There's no other added fees to it. It's absolutely amazing. And Tailgreeter, download the app today on your current Crapple or Android devices. Yeah, I said Crapple. All you Crapple people that have you Crapple phones. Team Android all day. Let's go. Download the app today. It's free. Doesn't cost anything. And a big reminder, we got 3 great events coming up this year in Baltimore, the Baltimore Beatdown, in Washington for the FedEx Takeover, and in Philadelphia for the Philly Finvasion. That's right. Would love to see y'all there. There are plenty of seats left. We got game tickets. We got all you can eat, all you can drink, all inclusive tailgate, pregame tailgates. We got meet and greets the night before the game. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And we got transportation to and from the game. It's going to be good stuff. So, all right. Let me talk to you guys about today. Today is Spread Kindness Friday. Today we're going to talk about Miami Dolphins nonstop. We're going to talk news and updates. We're going to give you our thoughts on things, but it is Spread Kindness Friday, and that means I have a co-host. He's one of the best guys in the business. I love him. He's one of my best friends. He is an absolutely good-looking man, not as good-looking as me, but he's good-looking nonetheless. I'm talking about my guy, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jason Sarney.
I wish you could intro me for everything that I do in life, Steven. Thank you so much. You're way too kind. Good morning to you.
What's up, man? How are you? I haven't talked to you in a few weeks.
Doing well. You know, I know it's time for you and family to relax, chill. You've been doing some fun things. Same on my side. So as much as I love doing that, and I hate to rush time along, I just can't wait for training camp. I can't wait for football, and let's talk about it.
Before we get into it, it is Spread Kindness Friday, which means each and every Friday, half the money we raise on the channel goes to, it can go to a charity, it can go to a particular cause, but we do it each and every Friday. So 50% of all donations that get donated today go towards a charity. Jason, I like what we did last week or the last time we did this. What charity are we going to do today? Are we doing the same one or are we going to do a different one?
We're going to do, you know what? I knew we were going to do this, and I was doing a lot of thinking, and I'm going to go a little off our brand for a moment.
Okay.
Us in the Twitter community had seen a lot of heartbreak recently in our community, and so many other communities have jumped in to help. Horribly and unfortunately, a member of the Buffalo Bills Mafia just went through a tragic loss. And that being Eddie, who had congestive heart disease, I believe, and his father had chronicled it on Twitter. I'm not exactly sure if they are doing anything raising money or anything in that regard. So I'm going to put a pin on anything that there is. If there's a Buffalo Bills fan, I know there's a couple out there who are in the chat who could guide us on that. That's where I would like anything to go or anything to provide any kind of help or support for that, because it was just kind of very public, very heart-wrenching. And we in a community of Dolphin fans, we do this, and we have to. That's part of our DNA is to give back. And this is what I would like to do.
Well, that's what we do here on Spread Kindness Friday. It was part of the reason I wanted to make the show on Friday, was to be able to give back. And that means 50% of all donations are going to go towards a great cause or a charity. And this week, we're going to help out, a member of Bills Mafia. When we had our recent tragedy within the fan base with you know who I'm talking about, Jason.
Yes, I do. Eric, who we had, who ran QAnon.
Yep.
So
and he passed away. There were a lot of Bills fans that gave to that cause. There were a lot of people that gave to that cause, and so if we can return the favor with somebody from their platform and who also went through a tragedy, I'd like to do that as well. I think that'd be great, man. I think that'd be awesome. All right, so 50% of all donations today are going to go towards that cause. Jason, you're going to keep track of it, and we're gonna do that. I got some stuff I think on my end to give away today too.
I love it. Yeah, you know what? If my eyes are off, I'm going to look for some things throughout the show. But let's rock and roll. Let's have a good Spread Kindness Friday.
Let's do it. All right. So Friday is here. It is upon us. A lot of things we want to do. And we haven't heard from you in a lot of the we've heard a lot about a lot of different topics from a lot of people in the social media community and the YouTube community. We have not heard your takes on a lot of this stuff. So some of this stuff is going to be repetitive for some of the people who watch on a day in, day out basis. But I do want to let you know, Jason, that we want to hear from you and what your take is on a lot of this stuff. So first things first, we haven't heard from you on the Dalvin Cook situation. What is your thoughts, Jason Sarney, on the Dalvin Cook situation?
The thoughts, it's a very loaded topic. Before I get into the specifics of it, do definitely just want to say that with the way that the team is structured right now, I'm very aware that it would be a luxury item that isn't necessarily needed. Mm-hmm. But as I mentioned on Twitter about a couple of days or a week ago, I didn't necessarily need to get a Blackstone grill in the back for Father's Day. But it changed my life and made things so much better.
But boy, you made some good Philly cheesesteaks I saw on it a couple of weeks ago.
Tip of the iceberg, my friend. But my point is that sometimes luxury items, yes, you have to spend. You have to, you got to go a little bit above the comfort zone. But in the long run, if you're playing the long-term game, what does it do for you? Where's the value? So if you're going to spend, and the number right now seems to be $7 million for Dalvin Cook, or at least that's the floating rumor, right? And that was a speculated number. No one's given him 10. I would be shocked. So if that number is around there and they have to come up to 8, 8.5, throw a couple of incentives in there, I would do it for a guy like Cook, and here is why. The deficiencies the Miami runners have had recently have not been oh, cool. They were at 4.5 yards, 4.6 yards, those two last year in terms of Mostert and Wilson. Oh, they had a good couple of games. I'm talking if we're really looking at the micro aspects of the running game for about a half a decade. Short yardage problems, third and fourth. I mean, Lusaka Polite's long gone. We don't have that guy. Inside of 5, inside of the 10, red zone, goal line runs, non-existent in terms of touchdowns for the Dolphins in 6, 7
I was hoping
years.
Alex Ingold was going to be that last year, but obviously that didn't come to fruition because of his injury.
But that's almost case in point. You know what? I love Alec Ingold. And if someone would come down and say Alec Ingold is going to score 4 goal line touchdowns this year, in addition to a couple of running backs, great, amazing. But what Dalvin Cook has done in his, let's say, 4 last Pro Bowl years, which the last 4 years he's been a Pro Bowl running back. Mm-hmm. He has mastered the inside 5 and the red zone touchdown efficiency, one of the best in the league, to the point where he has outscored. I'll go back into the tweet when we get you back on the mic and I can take a second. But I did a tweet where Dalvin Cook has outscored every running back the Dolphins have had on the roster in the last 7 years. In his existence in the NFL, Dalvin Cook has more touchdowns than 12 of them, 13, 14 of them. And I'm talking Kenyon Drake. I'm talking the failed running backs, not counting Jay Ajayi. We're going right after
the wonderful, amazing Kalen Ballage.
Next.
I think he was actually just in like the one of the leagues here, the USFL or the other one, the XFL. I saw him. I saw his name. He was playing for the San Antonio Brahmas or whatever they're called. Actually, now that I think about it, and it was like, no, this brings back memory. And guess what? He gained more than a yard in the play that I saw him play in.
Yeah, there was once a time where he and I were battling for the same amount of broken tackles at 0.
My God. Seriously, man. I mean, look, here's I don't need to. We've heard my view of the Dalvin Cook situation a lot over the last week and a half. I apologize for coughing in the mic there. What I will say is this. My question to you, Jason, is ultimately it is July 14th. Training camp. People are going to start coming to training camp over the next 7 to 10 days. Is he going to be in a training camp by the time training camp starts, whether it's ours or somebody else's?
I see a lot of people saying that it's a veteran move to maybe kind of wait and skip. And I get that. I don't think that's the worst scenario or mindset. But here's a little bit of an issue. And
He doesn't know the playbook.
Forget even that. Let's talk business for a second. From a business standpoint, and this is Greer and potentially another team or two. How long are you going to wait for one person to make a decision in which you probably have to cut someone else, make room for them, and then do other plans around that? Sometimes people could take something off, pull the plug, go another way, because I've learned in my life, I know it's a different life than necessarily football contracts, but with normal contracts and employment, time is always the enemy. But who's going to be the enemy here? Who's going to get the short end of the stick because of the time? Is it going to be the person who's waiting to decide on the offer? Or is it the team that is kind of dragging their feet saying, we're not moving, take it or leave it? So if there's a stalemate right now, whoever's waiting, someone's going to kind of get the short end of the stick because they're waiting.
All right, so looking around the league right now, Saquon Barkley is in the middle of a contract negotiation. They say that's probably going to be official probably in the next 3 or 4 days. The numbers are still kind of coming out slowly about what that might look like. Josh Jacobs has vehemently told the Vegas Raiders, I'm going to hold out. That's what I'm going to do. And Tony Pollard already signed his tender. So he's obviously going to be at training camp come day one. Are people waiting for Saquon to pretty much sign his deal so that the rest of the dominoes can fall? Or is it better for somebody like Dalvin to be like, I just need to see what's going to happen with Josh and Saquon before I make a decision on how far I need to play chicken with the Dolphins or any other team for that matter? You're on mute.
Sorry about that. Let me talk about the game of chicken for a quick second. They're picking the wrong person to play this game with Chris Greer.
He's already won the game of chicken once this offseason with the Vikings. He won it. He because they were trying to do everything they could to trade him, and he's like,
correct.
I'm not worried about it. I'll just sit out. I'll just you guys do what you need to do, but I'm gonna end up winning this.
Say what you want about the overall draft record of Greer, the overall everything of Greer. In this component of business negotiation and sticking to his guns and really owning his vision, don't play poker with this man. Do not.
So what you're saying is at the Hard Rock Casino, at the guitar,
don't sit.
If Dalvin Cook's at the table, don't show up.
No, if Chris Greer's at the table.
Oh, okay. Well, or Chris Greer's there, don't show up.
I mean, the point I'm trying to make is I'm not saying anything about a negotiation stance on what Dalvin Cook and camp are doing in positive or negative. I think they're playing it well in hoping.
I think both sides are sticking to their guns.
I think that they're doing what they need to do to up value. I think what they're doing.
Somebody's going to have to give.
Someone's going to have to give, but they might have to take a little bit too off that money if they really want to be in Miami. Because what's happening, you have a guy sitting on the market, Leonard Fournette. You have a guy sitting on the market, Kareem Hunt, Ezekiel. There are other options. There's
that was my next question to you, Jason. If the Dolphins don't deal or go after or get Dalvin Cook, and he ends up signing somewhere else, is somebody like Leonard Fournette on their radar, or is Chris Greer and Brandon Shore basically saying, and obviously Mike McDaniel for that matter, basically saying, we're good with the guys we got. We'll just go into the season with that.
I think that they're ready to do that. See, I think in all aspects of what Greer has done in many, many positions, especially the running back, he'll have his option A, and then he'll have B, C, D. And he'll put his price at what he wants. And if it has to go to B, he'll then analyze the price. And he's not going to care if he downgrades in his A, B, C, D, because he'll live with all of them at a certain point. Right. So if he signs Dalvin Cook at $7 million, he wins. If he doesn't sign Dalvin Cook and he goes with his current group, maybe that's B and he's very content. Maybe the C or the D is a Leonard Fournette or Ezekiel Elliott at a cheaper price point. But my thought is, if they don't bring in Cook, I would like to see them going with what they have.
Yeah, I honestly think that if you asked me 2.5 weeks ago, it was 95% chance the Dolphins were going to get him. Now that we're sitting here on July 14th and we're a few days out of training camp, I don't know. And I there's a side of me as a fan that would love to have Dalvin Cook on the Miami Dolphins roster because I think it would put us over the edge. But just as you said earlier, it is a luxury. It is not a need. And it is something that would definitely help us, wouldn't hurt us. But then there's also that FOMO, that fear of missing out, right? Mm-hmm. So like if I see him end up signing a contract for $6 million with the Jets and we were only offering him 4.5, I'd be pissed off. I'd be really pissed off.
I would be definitely upset with that. If another team comes out of the woodwork with $8 million and just because they want to be that FOMO and I just want that name, all right. But if it's the Jets, it would really hurt knowing that the negotiation was basically playing Miami and the Jets off and just squeezing Miami to get the Jets to give more money. So you really hope that they stick to their convictions, the Cook camp, in wanting to play at home. How much does he value that? Forget the tax stuff. How much does he value wanting to do something?
I think that's why he hasn't signed anywhere else yet, Jason. I think he ultimately wants to be a Dolphin, and this is what I said earlier this past week on Wildin' Out Wednesday and also on Tuesday when I had some of the other fans on. I said this, Jason. I said, and you correct, and please disagree with me if you don't agree. I think that all of these running backs behind closed doors are kind of chatting with each other and saying, we kind of need to stick to our guns, guys. We can't take a low ball offer because it's going to hurt the rest of us. Now, ultimately, I think they're there for themselves and they're going to do what's best for them. But I do think that they're kind of standing firm as a unit, the running backs in the NFL period, and basically saying, we're not dealing with this. Like, we need to be paid what we think we're worth. And we kind of need to come together as one. And if one of us take a low ball offer, it will hurt the rest of us.
I mean, I love the theory, and I definitely think that there's some sort of fraternal and brotherly aspect. You see it with the tight end you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it goes that contractually deep, but I would, from an outsider who loves just jumping into certain stats, if I were advising a room of running backs, which I have no right to do, I admit that, I'd say the numbers don't necessarily scream franchises spending the money that you all want for what the usage and the game calls for. There's no need, or let me rephrase this. This ain't the early 90s, mid 90s, where a guy like a Jamal Lewis or Jerome Bettis, or even when you go a little bit further, Marshawn Lynch are who you're looking for. Look at what the Eagles are doing. Look at what like the team like the Bucks did a couple of years. They had a number of people who they used. The Patriots, go back 20 years, workhorse backs, 30-yard carry backs, these bulldozers, your Nick Chubbs of the world.
I remember Corey Dillon being with the Patriots for a while.
One of their 7 Super Bowls. But everyone else was really, all right, you know what, Antoine Smith way, way, way back. But 5 of their 7 Super Bowls was all kind of
running back by committee.
Correct. And I think that that's what a smart, long.
Even when Danny Woodhead was there, they were kind of running back by committee. Danny Woodhead wasn't getting the ball 30 times a game.
And he was helping fantasy players in PPR leagues with those catches. I mean,
yes, he was
great with that. And that's what I think Devon A-Chain is going to be. So everyone on the we drafted A-Chain don't need Cook train. Don't get on that train just yet, because A-Chain is going to be very, very valuable with touches. I don't want to say runs and catches, touches, putting the ball in his hand.
So one of the other things that a lot of the fans are saying on the show from this past week, Jason, is that the Dolphins, obviously before the draft, were very high on Dalvin, and that's why they, had the conversation with Minnesota about potentially trading for him and so on and so forth. But the moment that they got A-Chain, everything kind of changed, because McDaniel is very high on A-Chain, and his thing and his value and his thing is, along with Greer, obviously being in collaboration with them, basically saying, hey, look, if we can get Dalvin for $4.5 million, go get him. But I'm not spending a penny more, because I fully intend to use Devon A-Chain as a guy who could be a workhorse for us in the next couple of years. He's got a bright future in South Florida.
Breaking that down, I do love the A-Chain pick. First time Greer has gone a running back that early, and third is mid-round. I mean, that's not early. that's middle round, right? But last person that they went with was Kenyon Drake, and Greer wasn't even the main guy doing that. So this was a little off-brand in a good way because he gave McDaniel what he wants. Best part about a draft, it's a no-brainer. You want a guy, you get a guy. That's what's different with the trade market and free agent market. Greer was never going to make the move, and the Vikings were never going to make the move prior to the cut date because of the numbers. Greer did not have to make the trade because he held everyone else's bluff that they were going to trade for Cook because it was going to help the Vikings clear money off the books with the trade post-June.
And the Vikings did everything they could to trade him. They did everything they could.
So breaking it down, in my mind, and please correct me if my metaphor or analogy is completely off base, Greer's holding his cards. He's looking at what he's got. And then he's not going to look at him again. He's playing the man. Patriots, you ain't trading for him. Jets, you ain't trading for him. Saints, like laughing at cap situations, laughing at the table.
Especially when the Saints just went out and got the Detroit running back, Jamal Wilkins.
Right. It takes them off. It takes people off. It takes them out. Fold. So now he's looking.
And then Dallas being one of them too, because they just signed Tony Pollard to a franchise tag.
You're at a table with 7 people, and he's literally saying, I'm not going to raise my stakes, or I'm not going to force my hand.
So he saw the rest of the NFL, the potential teams that could go after somebody or that could vie for the services of somebody like Dalvin Cook, and basically said, well, he's probably not going to go to a team that doesn't have a chance to win it all. So let me just take those teams out of the contention. And the other teams that would probably compete for somebody like Dalvin, here's what I see. And he basically went through and saw everybody and what they were doing, from the Patriots, the Bills, he basically said, I didn't want to take playing time away from my little brother in Buffalo, and all of these things. So you're saying that, to use the reference of gambling, of a poker face, don't be at a poker table with Chris Greer, because he can read people. That's what I'm
trying to say.
Yeah.
Because I think Greer, look at Greer in terms of almost all the times you're seeing him. What are you really seeing in his demeanor? Extremely even keel. You're even when he talks at the press conference, he's just very matter of fact. He's just talking like he's not getting above, he's not getting below. Everything is very calm, cool, and collected, right? That's kind of what you want if you are a poker player. What you don't want if you're facing, opposite poker player.
Now, here's a problem that I might have with Chris Greer and McDaniel and maybe some of the front office, right? Of the Miami Dolphins organization. We could play the game of chicken, we could play the game of poker, but looking at the A-chain theory of that they're really high on him and they expect him to be this great thing, there's still the unknown, right? You never know how a player is going to transition from the college game to the pro game. And let's be honest, it's not like Devon A-chain, was a Heisman Trophy candidate, or, he was good, he was fast. And that's why he got drafted. He got drafted for his speed more than anything. What about the unknown to the Dolphins? Why are they content on? Is it a pride thing with McDaniel or Greer, for that matter, that they're like, if I believe in this, I'm going to take it to the grave and I'm going to, go out swinging with it if that's the case. Because we saw it with Flores and it didn't work out well for Flores. He stuck to his guns. It didn't work out. And I feel like some people aren't willing to have a insurance policy, which is what I could see somebody like Leonard Fournette being, by the way. Because they're like, no, I'm just going to go with A-chain. But then, then we'll see Fournette sign with some Super Bowl contending team for $2 million. Knock on wood, God forbid, A-chain goes down in week 3, and now we're kind of stuck with what we had last year and probably in more of a worse position. So I feel like the Dolphins are gambling on the hope that this will work out the right way. And now in the past, that has not worked out well for them.
Let's expand. This is a fun parallel here, right? A lot of moves that a poker player makes at the table is dictated on the assets that they have in front of them, right? So there's aggressiveness, there's ability to hold, bluff, raise, however, also really predicated on how much chips you have and what you have. What does Greer have? He's got McDaniel, he's got Mostert, he's got Wilson, he's got A-chain, he's got Ahmed, and he's got Gaskin in his stack of chips, right? So there's a number of different options that he could do, because if he does, now to go off this and to go back to really what I'm trying to get at, if they do bring in Cook or another running back, the last two chips in the stack probably go, which would be Ahmed and Gaskin. So in terms of affordability,
I still think Ahmed is on the team no matter what, personally.
I would hope so. But one of those guys are going, But I just don't think that he's going to count what he has and just throw in much, much more than expected. He could maybe go up a little bit. I don't want to say that he's not going up at all. All right? And I do want to also add in that I talk a lot of positive about Chris Grier. There are negatives. I'm aware. I'm aware of the deficiencies. I'm aware of some of the really, really, really bad picks last couple of years. And I'm aware of the 2020 draft. But, when you have 11, 12 picks, you're going to have a couple of whopper bad ones. But anyway.
But do you agree with my theory that, and granted, it's worked out well for them too in the past. There's pros to it, right? Like going all in on Tyreek is a thing where it worked out great in their favor, right? But I look at the offensive line. I feel like they're sticking to their guns on the offensive line when they know that they could make some moves and improve the O-line and not be in this position that they're currently in.
Absolutely. I mean, going off the Cook train for a second. Offensive line, people are available right now. Veterans, we're not talking like insert an all-pro or even Pro Bowlers, but we're talking about steady Eddies. Like a guy like a Dalton Risner is available. This guy is an improvement at two levels of potentially on the line, right? Why not go after an offensive line guy? Why not extend Christian Wilkins? What are they doing exactly? Maybe they are playing a little bit of a waiting game. So, I think Grier is trying to play this perfect hand perfectly, which this really is setting up to be for the Dolphins. They're being called contenders all over the place. What Cook does is really make it to the point where it's that or bust almost, frankly. So maybe it is the time to not slow play these aces and to just say, all right, here it is. I'm going up. This is what we're going to give you one time. And if not, he'll walk away. But go up one time. So basically, before and do you think that there's an expiration date on this? Yes.
And when is that expiration date? Do you believe?
Training camp.
He wants him in the building for meetings and stuff.
I don't know. That's speculative. I'm saying my guess would be that for the Dolphins to go into training camp without Cook, there's too many other things that may have to happen, right? And if you're asking guy 53, 4, 5, and 6 to come into the building. And look, I know it's a business, but I would expect that to be done prior to making that happen with the amount of time that this has been taking. Because let's face it, you bring him in, someone's out.
No, totally understand that. Now, here's the other thing that I find very interesting in this whole ordeal, right? There's cap room. There's different pieces that can help maneuver some of these moves and make them a little bit better. One of those domino pieces that we've talked about endlessly on this show over the last week, and we haven't heard from you. And again, a lot of this stuff, I'm trying to get your take on it because we just haven't heard your take or your theory on it, is the Cedric Wilson. You trade Cedric Wilson, you gain $7 million in cap room. It is July 14th. It hasn't been done yet. I'll be honest, I don't expect it to be done anytime soon. But if I'm the Dolphins, he probably gets a majority of the passes in every preseason game. And I am basically flaunting him out in front of the NFL to be like, guys need a wide receiver? Here's one.
And I'll give you one further. Every punt that goes in the air, he's catching. Every single one. He was returning at the end of the season. So again, to your point, highlight a skill. And level 2 noob, I tend to kind of agree with you here. Now, let me expand on this. Is Cedric Wilson worth trading for with the money that he's owed by the Dolphins? No. Why? Because you're going to look at last year's stats. He did nothing relatively, which I could hear you, but he did not get an opportunity. Is he a quality player? Yes.
The contract that we signed him to was pre
Tyreek Hill. Exactly. So it was like certainly buyer's remorse. It was getting the car that you would have been okay with, and then all of a sudden passing the luxury dealership where there was a ticket price that you couldn't turn down. You're like, now I got to build a 2-car garage,
and I can't take him back to the.
I can't take him back to the right, but like. And also it depreciates the other asset, which is it depreciates Cedric Wilson now in a year, So can you get a 7th rounder for in a weird?
I don't care what the Dolphins trade for him. I just want essentially they could trade for a bag of balls as long as they get that $7 million cap hit cut. And
I like what NFL is lit just said too. If you want to throw up what he just said to expand or she, yes, I agree. For example, Dolphins send a 4th round in Wilson for a pick. Whatever that pick is, it's throwing value and losing a pick if you're the Dolphins to another team for them to allow you to cut cap.
Level 2 Noob says we overpaid for Wilson. Now we get to stare at that contract for 2 more years.
Noob, I'll give you a 2 rookie card if he's on the team in 2 years.
Yours, Noob's going to hold you to that.
This is
Level 2
yours.
Noob's going to hold you to that.
This is yours in 2 years if that happens. I'll put it in a noob box.
Put it in a sticky note. With a sticky note on top of it. If Cedric Wilson is here in 2025,
I'll put this in the vault.
All right, it goes to level 2 Noob.
All due respect to Cedric Wilson. I mean, I like the man. I think he's a quality rosterable player.
Can I get something of value instead? That's so mean, level 2 Noob.
It's okay, but this is where I'm going to store the card for you, Noob. It's one of my doggy bags. One of my
All right. Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. It is Spread Kindness Friday. That means 50% of all donations that come in today go to a great charity or a cause. And, we just had somebody recently in our brotherhood of the content creator or YouTube community pass away recently. And there was a lot of money that was raised for it. And we saw a lot of Bills Mafia fans also donating to that charity and to that cause to help out that family. Well, Bills Mafia just had one of their own pass away recently. Jason, you want to expound upon that a little bit real quick?
Yeah, if you hop on Twitter, you'd see, one of a father named, Nicky was, tracking the medical problems that his son was having. And Eddie, was battling, young kid, so young, and he was lost, unfortunately. And, I don't know if they are doing anything specifically just yet, but again, if there's anything that we can do today, let's put a pin in it and try to, even if it's to the organization that helps with that affliction, congestive heart disease, I believe. So anything that we can do to help in his memory.
We'd love to do that. That means 50% of all donations go to that cause today. I will say this. If you guys have a cause or a charity that you would like us to give to on a Friday, please let us know. We'd love to, we'd love your ideas of how we can give back to the community. That's what Spread Kindness Friday is all about. So 50% of all donations today or in every Friday go to a great cause or a great charity. So if you guys have a cause and or a charity to give to, let us know. Hit us up on social media at Jason_Sarney or at Stephen D SKPL, and we'll take it into consideration for a future Friday. Right, Jason?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm looking at the tweet by Nick Mayerick. Eddie's Infantry will do big things for the CHD community and all the heart warriors out there. I promise, buddy, you will never be forgotten. I love you, Resties. You're a dad. I'm a dad. It's absolutely it destroyed us. It is just so, we're with you, Nick.
All right, man. All right. So,
you know what? Donate directly. Yeah, Mike. Okay. Donate directly. Absolutely. Donate directly. Show us what you can do if that's how you want to do it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Look, all we try to do, one of the things we wanted to do was, find ways to give back and make opportunities to help other causes. And so this is just something that we do. If you don't like the way that we do it, you can 100% give 100% to the cause directly. More than happy to. This is just something that we do here at the podcast network. And we like that we do that. We've raised some really good money in the past for some really great and amazing causes. So we're going to keep doing that each and every Friday here. All right, let's get back into the conversation of Miami Dolphins news and updates. So one of the other things that's kind of happened over the last few days is defensive tackle paid across the league in the NFL. And so we've seen a few different contracts come up, and Quinnen Williams becomes the latest defensive tackle to sign a mega contract this offseason. He signed for 4 years, $96 million. And here's the thing, with the 4 years, $96 million that he signed, he becomes part of a few different defensive tackles this offseason that have gotten paid. Jeffrey Simmons, 4 years, $94 million. Darren Payne, 4 years, $90 million. Dexter Lawrence, 4 years, $90 million. Javon Hargrave, 4 years, $84 million. And Ed Oliver, 4 years, $68 million. What is Christian Wilkins going to get, and is he going to get paid this offseason?
You love to think. He absolutely deserves it. Now, people are going to look and say, oh, he only had 3.5 sacks. He doesn't get sacks. Forget the sacks. What this guy has done in the last 2 years is he's had 2 of the top 5 seasons in tackles in the NFL that they've had since 1994 for a defensive lineman. 98 this past year, 89 the year before. He's up there in terms of Dolphin top that they've seen since 1994 and in decades since I think the stat was created in 1986. Since tracking it, he's had the most tackles from a defensive lineman as a Dolphin. So he had a terrific year. He averaged just under 1 tackle for loss a game last season. He had 16 last year. So this man is so much more valuable than just sacking the quarterback. He stops the run. He puts pressure on, everyone on the offense. He helps other people get their stats, and he's a leader. He is a guy that could change the tone of the game. Yes, he does some antics. I get that. I could definitely do without that. We all love the guy like Ndamukong Suh, who we could have wanted a flag or 3 or 4 less from, but they paid Ndamukong Suh free agent money when they didn't necessarily need to bring him in. They need to retain a guy like a Christian Wilkins. They need to retain a captain who is a producer, who helps other people excel. And he is just one of those guys that you do not want to see become a champion somewhere else, because he's a winner. He won in college. He's one of those guys that you could just close your eyes and picture. Do you see this man speaking, holding the Lombardi trophy? Absolutely. And it better be with orange and aqua colors, because you cannot let this person go, God forbid, to a rival. If he goes to the NFC, he will eat in the NFC. So you pay him. I don't care what you need to do. There's things that they could do to cut money. You need to pay Christian Wilkins.
So do you think ultimately the Dolphins will this offseason?
You know what? I really do hope.
Or even in the training camp?
You know what? There's 2 schools of thought on this, and I've been doing a lot of kind of looking around, getting people's opinions, thinking on my own. You could do it now and lock them up, right? But you ask yourself, if you do that, is there a what if? There happened to be a very tiny what if. What if he doesn't gel with Fangio? I doubt that's going to come to fruition, but if that is a what if we sign him for such a long-term contract and it doesn't work out with scheme, that's a pretty big matzo ball hanging out there, but I don't think that's going to be the issue. So I'll put that aside, but maybe if you're doing your due diligence before you put $100 million to a player, maybe you want to see some things in camp when the pads come on. Maybe you want to get some feedback. Maybe you want Vic Fangio to, have you locked up Christian yet? Let's see. But I do think that he should be and better be signed long-term before week 1.
Yeah, no, look, I would love to see him signed before week 1. Ultimately, I don't think it's going to happen personally. I actually think, the Dolphins, what I want, honestly, though, Jason, is for the Dolphins to be in a room with him and his agent and basically say, hey, look, this is our plan. This is what we plan on doing in the future. You are a part of it, but right now, this is how we're going to go about doing it. And so that is my hope, that they're at least transparent with him, because I think if they're at least transparent with him, whether he likes it or not, he'll respect it. Right. If the Dolphins aren't transparent with him and keep him in the dark, come next offseason, it's going to be a crap show with that whole ordeal. And I don't want to alienate a player that's been great for the locker room, great for the fan base, and great on the field. And so that's the kind of thing for me that kind of, I don't know. Now, here's the other side to that coin. Are we willing to pay him $24, $26 million per year for a guy that, let's be honest, he doesn't put the sack numbers that we would want him to pay a guy like that. He doesn't put and that's fine. That's okay. But some of the big stats he doesn't put out. To maybe get a contract like that would be a no-brainer. So where are you with that in the money-wise?
It to me, that particular statistic for his role and what he does for the team, I don't need my sacks from him. Luxury items for Christian Wilkins, right? Luxury items. When you look at where the rush and the blitz could potentially come from and the pressures, I think that the way that he funnels things in through the middle and through that interior of the defensive line, makes things extremely difficult for runners and quarterbacks for other teammates of Christian Wilkins to get the sack. And when you have guys like Chubb on the outside, Jalen Phillips, Emmanuel Ogbah, those are the guys that I would love to see get the sacks, because maybe Wilkins is kind of creating a situation where the quarterback can't do what he wants. Quarterback gets a little bit to the outside of the pocket, then boom, Chubb wraps him up. Christian Wilkins doesn't get a half a sack on that or an assist. This isn't hockey. You know what I mean? But if you're watching film and you might see him take on two blockers and push right through them, and then a quarterback can't necessarily get the amount of time to pass the ball and someone else gets to him, you got to throw and tip your hat to Christian Wilkins for winning that play and assisting his teammate in getting a stat. You know what I mean?
No, I totally do. One of the things that I think will also be a domino effect to this whole ordeal is Zach Seiler and the Seiler situation. Is Seiler going to be somebody who gets paid this offseason? And if he were to get paid before Wilkins, how will that play out in the locker room or in the Wilkins front office, conversation?
Would you believe me if I told you that both Wilkins and Zach Seiler were in the top 5 of tackles last year for defensive linemen? Because they were.
Yeah, but Seiler's not getting a contract like that.
I'm not saying he's getting a contract like Wilkins, but I am saying that those two are a team within a team, a duo. The Dolphins have a good amount of duos and teams within teams on this roster. They got the cornerbacks and Xavier and Jalen, right? They got the safeties in Holland and Jones. They got tandems like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, right? You don't want to break those guys up for what one helps the other do. Same thing for Wilkins and Seiler.
I really hope that Seiler. Well, here's the other thing too, right? And then it'll make me come back around to this. I'll get your point on this, and then we'll land it home with this conversation about contracts. Connor Williams is currently allegedly going to be holding out, and to me, it's a very important piece because we're already strapped at the O-line, and the last thing I really want to do is go into training camp down an offensive lineman that I know is going to be a centerpiece of how good this offensive line can be this year. Is he putting the Dolphins in kind of a catch-22 with him holding out? And by the way, I do think he's got the cards to play this. What are your thoughts about the Connor Williams situation?
Yeah, this is a tough one with him having a little bit more of the stroke, because if what have you done for me lately, if the Dolphins are asking, and he'll come back and say, well, you changed my position. I was one of the best in the league. Next. And that's it. So having the ability to say that, I don't see where he is looked at as a bad guy here. I think that this is business on his end. That is,
I 100% think it's business on his end. I'm not denying that, but I do think he's putting the Dolphins in kind of a catch-22 because he would not be their first priority of re-signing. He would not be. And so the Dolphins, who currently have $13 million in cap space, they got to have some money left over for when the season starts. You haven't gotten rid of Cedric, which gives you another $7. You haven't restructured certain people's contracts, which maybe allow you to do X, Y, and Z. You'd like to maybe figure out something to do with Baker's contract, but nobody's taking on that contract, so you're not getting rid of him. And his dead cap money is like 17 mil if you cut him. So I'm not saying Baker should go or should get traded. I'm just saying that contract doesn't help the Dolphins and where they're currently at right now. So there's plenty of situations for the Dolphins to kind of look around. And I feel like Connor Williams is kind of saying, you're going to work with me first before you deal with anybody else.
I really wish that he, wasn't entering camp like this, but it is what it is. And this is a question mark, frankly. I don't know how to read this one. I would like to see him in camp, signed, locked up, but there's a lot of money to be put elsewhere too. So it's going to be an issue. Going to be an issue.
If he's not in camp, who's going to be the starting center at the beginning of camp?
Weren't there rumors of Liam Eichenberg was being given a shot at center? Or I don't know if there's any confidence level there. If we're going deep into the roster, Ulama Olave is an undrafted free agent, I believe, pure center. Maybe if he wows.
Out of San Diego State.
Correct. I think I said that name correct, but I believe that he is the lone purebred center on the roster. We'll see.
Dan Feeney, I think, is my.
Oh, Dan Feeney. I'm sorry. Yes, too. Dan Feeney has played center, so you never know. He could play. He could play some center as well. He does guard. He can play center.
And by the way, let's play that out here for a second, and then I want to come back to the contract negotiation to land that home. If Dan Feeney, let's say he starts out, Connor Williams holds out, Dan Feeney gets these reps in practice or at the beginning of training camp, finds out, hey, look, this guy's got a little bit of stuff. They go into the inner squad maybe, and Dan Feeney's playing center. They like what they see. Is it possible that maybe the Dolphins could start Dan Feeney at center and move Connor Williams back to guard?
I mean, look, anything's possible with this offensive line, like it or not. We've seen that they've transitioned, they've converted, they've experimented, and it hasn't necessarily clicked yet. So I wouldn't be shocked if they do a number of different things. I mean, they got.
You think they're gonna play ring around the rosy with different offensive linemen in different scenarios about who's going to work out well, who's going to be able. And by the way, that's part of the reason why I was kind of upset that Brandon Shell was not re-signed and he ended up going to Buffalo, because I thought Shell played well when he was here. And I thought he was a great depth piece for what, I think he would have just added more depth to what is a mediocre offensive line to begin with. So, it is the one thing, Jason, that I scratch my head and I say, what the hell are the Dolphins going to do? And how are they going to make this work? And, I hope that Dan Feeney's not the solution. I hope that Connor Williams is in camp come, the first week, but he's not. Dalton Risner is still out there. You got I'm at this point wanting the Dolphins to go to DJ Fluker and say, come in. I am like, that's how bad, but to me, that's desperation. And we've clearly heard Chris Greer on multiple of occasions saying, well, that's the media and the fans who want the offensive line stuff. We're comfortable with what we got here. And I don't know if they are. And I don't know if you should be. You've had 9 offensive line coaches in 10 years. You haven't had anything that is remotely look like a great offensive line in the last 20. You've had a couple of things here and there. But Bullygate screwed up a lot of that. So, Jason, I don't know. I love Greer. I'm a Greer fan. Everybody knows I am pro Greer. But I don't know if I trust him as far as I can see him when it comes to the offensive line.
That's been his Waterloo. And that's a reference to Napoleon. Great trailer if you guys
looked like an amazing movie. Ooh. Joaquin Phoenix, boy, still doing it, man. Looks so good.
A Ridley Scott war epic.
There's a still shot of him in Gladiator 20 years ago and him now with the crown, the gold crown of the leaves. Very similar. Oh my God. Looks crazy 20 years later. I look forward to it. It's gonna be really good.
Here's if I had to great movie, I can't wait to see it. But anyway, great looking. If I had to say what I'm annoyed with Chris Greer, if I had to, there are a couple of things, but mainly it has been the maintenance of the offensive line mixed with coaches, I guess, at his either blessing or them during the interview process saying this is what they wanted to do. Give me a pure blood right tackle, someone who played right tackle from Pee-wee up. Give me a left guard who never played another position. It's nice when you see that, right? Like it's nice to have that in college. Hey, he played 14 games at left guard, 12 at right tackle. I don't want that. I want someone who's mastered the position at the position, So that's just me. I know it's a little less these days common than usual. You got a lot of these multiple position players, especially when they get to college, they're moved. When they get to the pros, they're moved. But draft a guy who has just played thousands of snaps at one area and has mastered it. That's just my philosophy.
One of the things that I hope that the Dolphins do moving forward is, something that I know is not going to happen. And that's how do you make the fan base feel comfortable with the personnel that's already in place? And to be perfectly honest with you, I remember last year sitting at 8-3 and still a majority of the fan base saying, you know what? I still don't trust these guys. I don't know. And they were right. The next 5 games were crazy, right? And it didn't look good for us. But when do the Dolphins just need to win on a consistent basis for that trust to be regained within the organization? Is the only thing that able to help the fan base believe in that winning and consistently winning, not a win streak here, a win streak there, and then some injuries? Like, is winning the only thing to solve this?
I think it goes a little bit above the winning in the regular season. I mean, they believe it or not, as much as we've been upset with the deficiencies that they've had, they're one of like 4 teams in the last 3 years to have consecutive winning seasons. I know it's been barely winning seasons, and you can't even constitute it as a winning season because you only have 1 playoff loss in that time, and then you have no playoff wins in God knows, in 20 some odd
2001.
So you need to create a culture right now with this team with very limited excuses. Last year, there were a couple of buts. Yeah, but the defensive coordination and the whole depth of the defense after the injuries. Yeah, but the offensive line. Yeah, but the running. Now there's a very limited number of those buts. And I'd like to see not squeaked out wins. I'd like to see many more dominating wins. I'd like to create a fear, a Kansas City type of a fear, an Eagles type of a fear, where they're beating teams 42-16, where they're just knocking the heck out of teams. Where's that? It's very few and far between that the Dolphins and this fan base have just won the game in the second or third quarter, and it's just gravy. We can name the Houston game. We can name a Cleveland game from last year. We can name the opener from last year against, New England. The Dolphins beat that, but it was still a very kind of close-ish possession-wise game. Come out of the gate strong. Finish the middle of the game strong. Go into the locker room strong. End the game strong. Do that consistently. There's been no consistency in that regard for the last 10 years. So less heart attack games. Beat teams with an actual fear that is put into the rest of the league. That's when you know.
All right, Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. Want to remind you guys it is Spread Kindness Friday, which means 50% of all donations go to a great charity and a great cause. And this week's cause we are given to the Children's Heart Foundation, because a part of Bills fan, Eddie's infantry, a young man, very small child, passed away recently due to a heart condition, and that was a tough thing for the family to go through. And so they were asking for people to give to the Children's Heart Foundation. So that's what we're going to do this week, is we're going to give to the Children's Heart Foundation. 50% of all donations today will go towards the Children's Heart Foundation. If you guys like a charity or want to support a cause, then what I want to remind you guys to do is to you guys can always email or hit me, DM me at Stephen D SKPL or Jason_Sarney. We would love to give to your charity or to your a cause that is important to you on a future Friday show. We want to give back each and every Spread Kindness Friday, and that's what we do here on the podcast network. So we're going to keep it going. We're going to keep it moving. All right, now Miami sports music. Want to get back just into the contract stuff that goes to it. One of the things that I find very interesting to me is now that Connor's kind of put the catch-22 onto the Dolphins, now that the Dolphins are kind of sitting there and they're saying, hey, look, this is what we want to do. We want to, be able to deal with the $13 million that we have left. What do you think Miami will do in the next 3 weeks when it comes to contracts, when it comes to free agency, when it comes to Dalvin? I want to know, Jason Sarney, from you, the next 3 things that the Dolphins do in the next few weeks.
You'll see a picture of Christian Wilkins with Dan Marino over his right shoulder with a big smile on Christian's face and a pen and paper in front.
So you believe Christian will get a restructure? That's one. Second thing?
I believe that we will find out that the number is going to be in and around 7 or 7.5 million for a 1-year deal with incentives for Dalvin Cook.
So you think Dalvin ends up signing here and it'll be about 7.5 mil? Okay.
The number was 7. I think that that's a nice number, knowing that even if New York was 8.5, you might get a little bit more with the 7 after the tax situation, but we're beating that horse way too much these days, the tax stuff. But hometown discount with all the other things that Dalvin said, I would like to see that he makes good on what he said.
And then number 3 is you make room. Meaning, if you're going to fill your war chest with more weapons, unfortunately, you're going to have to create some casualties with it. And you're going to have to strategically trim the roster of players that maybe if you could just get something for them, and that might include what we talked about previously, but you're going to have to make room for the money that you're creating for Christian Wilkins. You're going to have to make room for the new addition in Dalvin Cook, and that would be the third, is an overall maintenance of the roster going on into training camp with your 90. Yeah, I mean, I hear that. I think I don't see. Like I said, if you asked me 3 weeks ago, I thought it was a very good chance that we would that we would go and be able to sign Dalvin. Now I'm not so sure of it. I think if you were going to deal with Christian Wilkins, it would have been done earlier in this offseason. I haven't seen that, and I don't think it's going to happen. So I'm against you on those 2 things. I don't think that they're going to happen between the start of the season. Now, what I do think the Dolphins are going to do, Connor Williams will get re-signed. I think that'll be the first thing, because I think that has to be the first thing. He put him in that situation. Dolphins have no choice but to deal with it. Number 2, they have to figure out a way to create more cap room, whatever the way that may be. And I don't know what that comes in. Does that come in the form of a trade with somebody like Cedric? Is that a package trade with maybe Cedric and somebody like Noah, or Cedric and Raheem Mostert, to Dallas or something like that? There's a lot of different scenarios that can come from that. But what I do know is that the Dolphins, to do anything even significantly that we want to be able for them to improve, they have to create more cap room. They can't just live off this $13 million. Because here's the thing, the Dolphins go into seasons, and most teams should, with some cap room. That way, if something happens during the season and you need to dip into the free agency pool, that you'll be able to do it. By the way, this won't be one of the first 3 things, But I do believe that if there's the money's there, which it always is for the Dolphins, and the Dolphins are on a winning streak or like a winning team come week 8, week 9, maybe week 7, and they have a really good winning record in that time, 5-2, 6-1, 6-2, 7-2, whatever it may be. The last 2 years, Ndamukong Suh has signed halfway through the season. And I could totally see Ndamukong Suh signing in Miami for like $2 million, 1.5, 2 million. He's really good friends with Stephen Ross. He hasn't retired yet. I could 100% see Ndamukong Suh signing with the Dolphins here halfway through the season, which would be a good thing for us because he's played in a couple of Super Bowls the last few years in the teams that he signed with. So I would love to see that. I will say this. For me, I would love the third thing for the Dolphins to do this offseason is to, address what the running back situation will ultimately look like. That if they don't go out and get Dalvin Cook, and I am right about that, I would love to see Leonard Fournette. I want to see Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette, I think, would be a better asset for the Miami Dolphins in this offense because he would be able to be a short yardage back who you could use on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 or 4th and 2 or 3rd and 2. And I think Leonard Fournette would not get a lot of carries this season, but he would get a lot of touchdown and first down situations. And I think Leonard Fournette would do wonders for this team. My personal opinion. If the Dolphins don't get Dalvin and they end up going and I like you believe that if they don't get Dalvin, I don't know if they're going to do anything anyway. But I would love for them to go get Leonard Fournette personally. I think Leonard Fournette would be great.
I'm not in disagreement in that. With that thought, if they sign Leonard Fournette as part of their contingency plan C, for $3 million, okay, great. We can get some TD Lenny, little touchdown Lenny action. That's fine. But I do think that when you have an opportunity that you're as close to as this, to your most talented roster since the team was a perennial shoo-in for the playoffs, the last time that was the mid-90s. Unfortunately, they ran into an AFC which was just owned by the Buffalo Bills in the mid-90s. That's who went to 4 Super Bowls in a row, That's just an excuse. But sorry, Bills. We're making this very Bills heavy, and sorry, Dolphin fan for that, but whatever. But fact is, if you think 92, 93, 94, even 95, these Dolphin teams were loaded. And I don't want to look at the actual players and attributes. I just want to look at the positions and the way that they're broken down. Look at 93, 94, 95, when the Dolphins offenses were in the top 10, 1. They were actually some of the greatest offenses that this organization ever had. It's structured very similarly. 2 stud wide receivers, excellent slot presence, 4 running backs who could do things. Remember, in the mid-90s when the Dolphins were winning 10, 11 games without even sneezing, you had a Bernie Parmalee, a Terry Kirby, a Keith Byers. You had multiple people. Terry Kirby, I mentioned a lot. Great overall athlete, a little bit taller than a Devon Achane, like 6'3". As a running back, Devon Achane's like 5'9". But as a rookie, Terry Kirby led the team in reception. I think that Achane will not do that when you have Waddle and Hill on the team, but he is a rookie who could probably be among the top 5 or 10 rookies in receptions, even including potentially the wide receivers, frankly.
You think Achane can?
I think Achane could be in the realm of a Jamar, and a Gibbs and a Robinson in usage in terms of running backs in the rookie class getting involved in the passing game. I'm not saying he's going to be.
And that's if Dalvin Cook's not here.
Correct. But even if Dalvin Cook is in, it's even more so when his usage will be, that of receptions over carries through the middle, maybe a couple of outside plays. But I don't see him being, a 5 to 10 carry guy as much as a 2 to 6 touches kind of guy.
Let's talk a little bit about what predictions might be, some hot takes, some predictions for the Dolphins offense this year and how it might look and things that we think should be executed. I think that's a great segue from the conversation that we're currently having because, let's say the personnel does have somebody like Dalvin, and let's you also used if they don't. The Dolphins last year, the average pass for Tua was what, 9.6, 9.8 or something like that was the average completed pass per completion for him. And then as far as the running backs are concerned, we had Chase Edmonds for what, a third of the year, and then
6 games.
Yeah, and then obviously Jeff Wilson came in after that. I think we ended the season with a total of the carries being 4.6 yards per carry, somewhere in that range.
Referencing earlier, when you look at their raw statistics, those two, even when you throw in Ahmed, who was at 5.0 yards per carry, I believe, yes, on paper, good. What the problems was the times of those exact runs, the necessity when you needed the first downs, the short yardage, the scoring of the touchdowns when you needed, and the conviction that McDaniel had in using the running game. Hopefully all those things improve. But yeah, there is a solid foundation and base with these several runners that they have. Cook just makes it a freaking masterclass.
Yeah, I think so too. Now, with all of that being said,
sorry.
Miami Sports Music presents Moonwalkers, home of retracting statements. I like that, Gabriel. I'm flip-flopper, baby. But I'm honestly just trying to understand both sides to the coin more than anything. It's not that I feel one way or the other. I know that our coach in his end of the year press conference, McDaniel, was saying, look, I need to try to utilize the run more in certain situations. We know that we abandoned it, say that 5 times fast, in certain games last year where it shouldn't have happened. We also know that the defensive play calling last year in some situations and games that we lost was an absolute hysterical thing, because we have players off the record that said, I have no idea what Boyer was calling in that situation.
I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I'm so over it to the point where you could put 2 square losses on Boyer.
Yeah. So with all of that being said, Jason, the Miami Dolphins, looking at the league and the second hardest schedule this year and what they have to face and what they have to do, knowing that you had 2 wide receivers over 1,000 yards last year, ultimately, what does the offense look like next year? How do you see it being utilized on a game-by-game basis? Who are some of the leaders that you see being on this offense player-wise?
Like I said, the offense is the most talented offense that I can remember since the mid-90s. And when I'm looking at, there was actually kind of 2 versions of it. There was when you had a wide receiver tandem of Irving Fryer and Mark Ingram, and then you had OJ just kind of creeping up into that, next man up when Fryer and Ingram left. And then, you move to those running backs who kind of were utilizing the passing attack, like a Byers, like it was a fullback, like an A-Chain. So you have so many weapons on this team that when you really break it down, it's how they can be used. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, we know how good they are. But now you look at a guy like a Chosen Anderson or a Robbie Chosen or whatever you want to call him. Let's just call him a deep vertical threat. So here's another thing about the value of a guy without a statistic. Imagine him being on the field and making the safety say, damn, having to take into account that vertical ability, stretching the field, creating space for other people. So there's aspects of player attributes that could help others in the wide receiver room. Give me a guy like a Braxton Berrios getting those tough yardage, getting those tough third down plays in the slot, maybe getting some good plays on the outside as well, in addition to his special teams usage. We know what Mostert and Wilson and Ahmed can do, right? But now if you get McDaniel to just call those runs properly and timely, another year in that offense, and we haven't even mentioned the health and the second year in this offense of Tua. And that's where it all comes from. If Tua is healthy, continues his success in this offense, which we saw before his injuries, right? And I'm not talking about the 3-game stretch after the Green Bay game or the stretch starting with the Green Bay game, but this offense could be absolutely potent. Could be absolutely potent.
Yeah, I tend to definitely agree with you. For me, right? One of the things that I'll say to this, Jason, is the Dolphins last year had what were they number 6 in all total offense last year, or 6 or 8, something like that. Total offense last year. It was top 10. That's all I know. And it wasn't top 5. But how do you improve upon that from the year prior?
Consistency.
Well, here's a couple of things that you have to put into to task here. Number one, teams now have tape on how the Dolphins execute their plays. Now, with all of that being said, it doesn't matter how you play because speed kills. And if you can't catch up to them, it's irrelevant on what type of defense you're going to run against it, because you just don't have the personnel to catch up with the players there, right? I don't know how many secondaries are going to be able to compete with Tyreek Hill on one side, Jalen Waddle on another, Devon A-Chain out of the backfield, Raheem Mostert out of the backfield. I mean, we're talking about speed upon speed upon speed, including Robbie Chosen. Chosen is another guy who's also fast. People don't know that. He's a fast guy, too.
He's one of the fastest in the league.
And Barrios is, too. Barrios has got speed, too.
It's a track team.
It's you can have the game film all day, but two things to that: executing it and being able to be consistent about it. My hope is that because Tua has a second year under his belt for the first time in a long time with the same playbook, right? He's not having to learn a new playbook, Jason. He's not having to learn new personnel. He's got some of the same personnel. He's got some of the same, he's got pretty much the same backfield, pretty much almost the same wide receivers, right? River Craycraft's another guy, right? That's also fast too. For me, I don't know how the Dolphins, like, from not ever having a top 10 offense since the early 90s to having it with a second and third string quarterback, going through your quarterbacks twice last year, all three of them, 2 rounds twice, and still having the 6th best offense in the NFL. There's something to be said of that. With having a mediocre offensive line and having the 6th best offense in the NFL, there's something to be said of that. So looking at the NFL and where everything is at, Jason, how do the Dolphins get to a top 3, top 2? Because is it just consistency and Tua executing and Tua being healthy? Is Tua the X factor here? And the reason I ask it like that, the reason I ask it like that, Jason, is because we were still successful in areas, even with Teddy Bridgewater and Skylar Thompson last year. In certain areas, the offense doesn't. We were still the 6th best offense, no matter who was on the field. Am I right or wrong about that?
Overall raw stat, yes.
Okay, so Tua, then the statement of Tua is the X factor for the Dolphins to be successful is 100% correct.
Well, let's look at it this way. The record since 2021 of non-Tua starts for the Miami Dolphins, so that's either QB2 or QB3.
Okay.
The record, not including the Skylar playoff loss, so the regular season record in 2 years where Tua did not start is 3-6.
So the Dolphins have a losing record without Tua.
A very poor one.
Okay. And with Tua?
And with Tua, it's remarkably better. I mean, Tua is a guy that you need to run this offense. And to get back to the ranking of the potential of the offense, I don't necessarily care if they are ranked in raw stats this year, particularly because the defense, I think, is going to make it so much easier for this offense to, in terms of field position, in terms of just time of possession, just getting off the field. The defense,
I think our time of possession goes up tremendously this year because of
in a good way. In a good way, and the defense isn't going to be just on the field constantly, but you're going to give the offense a little bit more power and less field to work with to hopefully put efficient points on the board. Tua is 21-13 as a starter. So you're looking at 21-13 for Tua, or 3-6. I mean, come on.
I agree with you. Miami Sports
Music. One quick point before you go. You do the rundown real quick. I think QB2 is extremely important. God forbid they need to play 2 or 3 games. Because if they need to play 2 or 3 games, if you get a winning record in that equation and go 2-1, if that happened the previous 2 years, not only are they a playoff team, maybe they could have gotten a better situation this year.
Yeah, look, I hear that. All right, Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. We're coming up to the top of the hour here. We got another hour left on the show. It is Jason Sarney on Spread Kindness Friday, myself, Stephen Daniels. Remember, 50% of all donations go towards a great charity or a great cause each and every Friday. Today's cause is going in to the Children's Heart Foundation, and the reason that we're doing the Children's Heart Foundation is because a member of Bill's Mafia, a young man, a child, passed away recently, and it rocked their fan base to the core. Eddie's infantry, recently passed away, and so the family is asking that money be donated to the Children's Heart Foundation. So that's the cause that we're going to give to today. Each and every Friday, we try to give to a great cause or a great charity, and this is what we're going to do today. So 50% of all donations go towards that. So have the donations come in. Let's raise some money for a great cause. If you guys want to give to it directly, you guys can do that too. It's the Children's Heart Foundation, whatever it is, whatever floats your boat. We just want to be able to give back. That's what we do here on the channel. And we like doing that on Spread Kindness Friday. We're all about spreading kindness and spreading love and spreading positivity. All right, let's get into some of the training camp things. That was one of the things you and I last night kind of said we wanted to get into. What do rookies look like in training camp battles? What is the first thing you want to get into? Do you want to talk rookies or do you want to talk training camp battles?
We kind of covered a little bit of one of the main training camp battles with the offensive line. We spoke about that. I mean, the right tackle and the left guard battles. I mean, I don't want to see chiseled in stone Liam Eichenberg at left guard and Austin Jackson at right tackle. I'd like to see some action in camp. I'd like to see some pressure on both of those guys in terms of maybe an Isaiah Wynn, maybe jumps on into the fold. Maybe it is a Dan Feeney, surprising. Maybe it is an undrafted free agent who is becoming that next, undrafted that everyone starts to love. There's a couple of positions that you could circle that is needed to hopefully find a diamond in the rough. And that is possible with what we've seen lately in the Miami Dolphins, August and late July, last couple of seasons. So, beyond the offensive line, I would love to see that wide receiver 3 battle. Who is it?
Robbie Chosen for me. I think Chosen is the guy that's going to get it. Now, what I am excited to see is how somebody like Braxton Berrios fits into this offense. And the reason I say that is I'm putting the math together. Our wide receiver coach is Wes Welker, who was one of the greatest slot receivers of all time. And his very similar stature, very similar size is Braxton Berrios. And if anybody can be able to make that work, it's going to be Wes Welker bringing out the best of what could possibly be out of Berrios. So I'm excited to see that in the scheme of things. By the way, I just had Cesar Diaz pay EM swear jar money from Wednesday. He paid the $44. Shout out to Cesar Diaz. 50% of that will go. He just paid it on PayPal. 50% of that will go towards the Children's Heart Foundation. Thank you so much, Cesar. Cesar. I appreciate it, man. You're the man, brother. I think that Robbie Chosen's going to be the number 3 guy. But yeah, I'm excited to see Berrios. Now, a guy that we all kind of want to see, not in the preseason, but is he going to get playing time in the regular season, is Eric Ezukama. Eric Ezukama, we know, can play in vanilla offenses in the preseason. We know that McDaniel's not going to show a lot of his cards in the preseason. He's just not. Now, Eric Ezukama had a great preseason last year and a very vanilla offense, but he could not grasp the playbook last year. He admitted to it in press conferences. He didn't dress for probably almost half the games because of it. And we have a lot invested into him to be a really decent wide receiver. And I don't know, with the personnel packaging that we have at wide receiver, A, he's going to get that opportunity, and or B, be that wide receiver here because Berrios and Chosen, I think, are probably in front of him. And Trent Sherfield. And by the way, I even would maybe even say River Craycraft is too.
I would hope not.
Well,
I mean, there's no knock on
I don't know about talent wise, but McDaniel loves River Craycraft. He gets snaps. So where is Eric Ezukama going to get snaps in this offense? He's not.
I would hope that this is the year that there's the development that Eric Ezukama is forcing his way into.
He has to show a lot in the inter squad scrimmages, and he has to show a lot and practices at training camp where they are running the plays and that they're going to run in the regular season. Because if he doesn't, it's not going to be preseason. It's going to be, how does he do in the inter squad practices and how does he do in training camp? And if we're getting reports from the beat writers that, oh my God, here's an 87-yard pass that was just completed to Eric Ezukama. Oh, Eric Ezukama just completed another pass. But if we are hearing Eric Ezukama had 3 drop passes today, or he ran the wrong route, like I'm telling you right now, I don't even know if Eric Ezukama could make this team.
No, I agree with that sentiment. I mean, look, when you're the Dolphins and you're bringing in free agents like they're bringing in and making moves for wide receivers, technically 3-4, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it puts Eric Ezukama on complete notice to, you'd hope right now. Look, I guarantee you there's at least a few Dolphins who might not be checking in, but they're working. They started their clock now. Like, they are training. They are working. Whether it's in the facility or not, you hope that Eric Ezukama is like, you know what? I could have another couple of days or a week off. But no, I got my job and my career that I got to fight for. And that's going to show us come training camp. Let's see, does he come in maybe a half a step quicker? Does he come in physically fit, ready for conditioning? Let's see what that off-field rookie because remember, you're a rookie. A famous Jalen Phillips quote going on into a fish tank show is, you're not a rookie until 3 games into your second season. Or you're a rookie until you're 3 games into your second season. So he's still a rookie in the eyes of his teammates. So he's got a whole training camp in a month pretty much to say, all right, my second year, I'm here now.
Now, you notice the name I didn't even say is Cedric Wilson. All of these names, if he's here, he's definitely not seeing the field.
I mean, could you say that if he's here and he makes the roster, he's the wide receiver 5? That means that either Craycraft or Ezukama is not. It's very odd.
Craycraft is making this team. I promise.
I don't disagree with the sentiment because of the value outside of targets and necessarily receptions.
And McDaniel loves him.
McDaniel loves him. But for me, you have to figure out a way, if not for just the benefit of Cedric Wilson's career, just get him somewhere else. Just do what you got.
I agree.
Right.
But if nobody's here's the thing. In this particular circumstance, you can't cut him. So teams got to know that. So teams got to know, well, we can't wait for this guy to be cut because the Dolphins aren't going to do that. They're just going to keep him on their roster. But there's got to be teams out there that are in the market for a wide receiver and a valuable one.
I mean, to tell you the honest to goodness truth, I hate saying it. What might happen. And again, it's football. There are going to be receivers around the league who might tweak up an injury during an August situation that might go into the season. That's when you pick up the phone. I mean, if there's a player of value on a wide receiver unit that goes down with an injury that could be X amount of time to X amount of time, I pick up the phone. Sorry about this guy. I got a guy for you. Let's talk. Oh, 2005 6th rounder. I'll throw in the 7th of my own. We'll do a pick swap, and I'll get you your guy on a plane. Boom.
All right, Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers. We're sitting here talking Miami Dolphins training camp battles. What's the next position you want to talk about and get into?
It's a twofold. And I got 25 more minutes, and I got 11:30. I got to hop. I'm sorry to throw that in.
I'm going to take some callers here after that for the last 30, 40 minutes of the show.
Cornerback 3/slot. Now, I say that could be 2 different things. My favorite aspect of this secondary is every single defensive back other than Xavier Howard, which is not a knock on what I'm about to say on Xavier Howard, everybody else can do multiple things on the defensive backfield. Slot duties, outside duties. A couple of people could either do safety and cornerback duties. The flexibility with the defensive backs are phenomenal. We know one outside spot is solidified with Xavier Howard. The other one, you'd think, is 1,000% Jalen Ramsey every single snap, right? But Jalen Ramsey is also a guy who can play a little safety. He can be mixed around a little bit, too. You have Kader Kohou, who came out of nowhere to be one of the best cover corners in the league last year.
Let alone one of the best rookies, one of the best players in the league.
However you want to slice it, call it another find for the Dolphins in the undrafted free agency world. Now you look at a back and hopefully 100% healthy Nick Needham, who could be a slot guy and let Cater develop continually on the outside, or you could have Cater start the season as a slot guy when Needham develops, because he was the slot guy when healthy, right? And now we're talking about the development of potentially Cam Smith. So there's going to be a battle of three players, and then now throw in a fourth with Trill Williams, who is going to now want either slot duties or cornerback 3 duties. So let me paint you a picture here.
We haven't even talked about Cam Smith or Nick Needham yet.
No, I just mentioned quickly, like Nick Needham and Cam Smith is like the other guys, but we haven't even gone in depth yet, because here's a scenario I'm going to throw out. And please sound the panic alarm if you think that's what I'm trying to do, but I'm not. I'm playing the realistic button.
Okay.
Let's say we're in November, all right? Throw the schedule up if you don't mind, or if you don't have it up. I don't have it handy. But if we're in the middle of the year and the Dolphins are like, 8-3, 8-4, they're okay, they're doing fine, right? And we've seen this. Let's say Xavier Howard's got a hamstring. He's got an ankle, whatever. So what do you do now? You move Jalen Ramsey to cover corner 1, CB1. Maybe you have now Cater as CB2 and Cam Smith as the slot guy, or reverse that. But now where's Needham? Maybe Needham factors in a Fangio scheme in some sort of a kind of jack of all trades role. But then you now have to consider Brandon Jones in a situation like that, and that jack of all trades. So there's so much flexibility. But to give you that answer, I want to see who that next cornerback is in terms of the Dolphins' value, whether it's slot or whether it's the next man up, whether it's Xavier Howard or Jalen Ramsey, maybe needing a game, needing a week. Because let's face it,
all right, so I have
everyone playing 17 games.
I have 3 names in the cornerback room that I want you to discuss a little bit more in detail. Keon Crossan, Justin Bethel, and Noah Igbenogany. And
excellent question.
Yeah, because I think those 3 guys all kind of have a little bit different thing on whether they'll make this roster or not. Keon Crossan, you can save a couple mil in salary, I think, with him.
I've already,
and I think he's gone because
I'm glad you mentioned
that cap casualty.
He was someone that I wanted to talk about. And again, I hate doing this. I hate bringing up specific players and saying either cut, trade, whatever, but it's the business of it. $3 million, or let's say a margin of error of $1 million. There's at least $2 million that you could save. I'm doing it right now. You cut Keon Crossan, because let's face it, he's CB7 or CB6, whatever it is, and you're going from $13.4 million to $16.6 million. So there's your math right there with Keon Crossan. You need to go up a little bit for Dalvin Cook. Well, there you go. And then you create another roster spot. Boom.
In the process.
It also frees.
The only thing I don't like is you're getting rid of a talented player. And Keon Crossan is very talented.
Not going to argue that. And here's what I'm going to say. Good problem to have when you're cutting talented players. And the Dolphins were cutting bartenders and insurance salesmen a couple of years ago who did not pick up on other. I'm sorry.
You're not wrong. Sorry. You're not wrong.
What I mean, in 2019, when a player didn't make the team, where are we seeing them? And hopefully they're doing well, but we're not seeing them in many cases with other teams. My point is, Keon Crossan is a guy that gives you money elsewhere. No offense to Keon Crossan. If you take him off the roster, do you have any loss of win total? No, nothing changes. If we're moving further, you cut Noah Igbenogany because let's just face it, the time has come. If there's dead cap money,
I agree. I think Noah should not be here this year.
I'll
do you one I'll do you one better, Jason. Not only is Keon Crossan and Noah not need to be here, Elijah Campbell and Justin Bethel, Deshaun Elliott, and Verone McKinley, I think, could all make this team.
Well, let me tell you
Deshaun's
something about
obviously going to make it.
Bethel. I don't put Bethel
Bethel's a great special teams
That's
guy.
what I was
You have
just
to
about
have
to
it.
say. Perfect. We're on the same exact wavelength. I don't put Bethel as CB whatever or as DB whatever. I put him as special teamer 1. Like, he is your guy on the special teams unit to be that, unheralded star on that unit, covering punts, being on a coverage squad, so you need Bethel on this team more than you need Crossan, and you actually have a better monetary scenario.
I think, be real, if we have to get to Noah because something went horribly wrong, so and God forbid that happens again the way it did last year, and I just don't see it. So all right, so you and I are on the same page. Keon and Noah's off the team.
Yeah,
Justin Bethel makes the team because of special teams.
Yep. Absolutely,
first and foremost. All right, so now let's go to Trill Williams and Elijah Campbell. Let's talk
Trill
about
Williams is a guy I would really circle because it's fun to see players really put.
He was hyped up so much before his injury last year, and he would have gotten the playing time that Cater Kahu got had Trill been healthy. It would have been Trill Williams getting that playing time, not Cater Kahu.
I mean, look, everything happens, for a reason. Things are put in front of certain players. What happened with the Trill thing, horribly unfortunate. What it created was a next man up for Miami, enter Cater Kohu. Now it actually flips things and puts Trill Williams in a comeback scenario and either further of an underdog, knowing that he wasn't a drafted player. I believe he was a waiver wire addition.
He was from New Orleans.
Correct. There we go. Exactly. Thank you. So you have Trill sitting here, not yet really vested in his NFL worth. Second team, then he gets injured. And now you have Kohu basically creating that Lou Gehrig, Wally Pipp scenario, right? Remember that?
Yes.
And here's Trill Williams saying, don't you forget about me. And from the footage that he's been putting out, looks like he's been working his ass off to get back. And I'm extremely curious to see if he pushes and factors in to that, CB3 role. Why not? Why not factor him in if we're going to lock someone into a slot role and you need to find that CB3? Or if you maybe convert him to safety for depth. Who knows? But I want to see what Trill Williams can bring in terms of the depth.
Elijah Campbell.
You know what? Fine depth player, but
I think he's the last guy in the secondary that makes the team. And I think he will make the team. Now, my question to you, while you're talking about Elijah, 9, 10, or 11 defensive backs or secondary.
Again, this is an issue with this case. I love the flexibility in positions. Offensive lineman, not so much. Sorry if I'm sounding hypocritical with position.
No, I agree with you.
I could literally call the other side of the ball, the other side of the coin. So I could, give myself a little bit of leeway. Half hypocrite. But in the secondary, it's a very, very good advantage to have chess pieces, because you can mask coverage, you can hide different things, you could put, different pieces together, you can create fun numerical combos, So I just really would love to see the flexibility of Trill too. Add him to maybe one of those Brandon Jones kind of people who could be a jack of all trades safety-ish maybe. So we'll see.
So if Xavier Howard, Brandon Jones.
Elijah just doesn't fit in that conversation. Sorry, to get back on Elijah, it's like I just think that he falls in talent-wise way below even Trill Williams.
Xavier Howard, Brandon Jones, Javon Holland, Jalen Ramsey, Cater Kahu, Cam Smith, Nick Needham, Justin Bethel, Deshaun Elliott, we believe is making it. Trill Williams is 10. And so that obviously we think Crossan's a camp casualty. Noah's not making it. And that leaves Verone McKinley and Elijah Campbell if they make it for an 11 spot. And the question is, do you even think they're going to keep 11 people? My thought is yes, because when it comes to the linebacking situation, I feel like we'll see more of 4-2 and the rest secondary.
What I would love, and again, this goes exactly into that position kind of switch thing on defense, you know, Brandon Jones, you can kind of put him into a creative role where you're almost counting him more as like that, like jack linebacker. I know, don't think like purebred linebacker. Think schematic joker of a player, jack type of a linebacker in a Vic Fangio scheme where he could do a little bit of blitzing, a little bit of coverage, you know, but really can get into the game in the second level of running back tackling, you know, play Brandon Jones to his advantages in tackling and getting to the quarterback, not necessarily coverage. So you can have a Deshaun Elliott, you can have one of those other cornerbacks now, either if it's a Needham or a Trill Williams, or, you know, kind of playing that safety-ish area as well. So 10 is a really good number, but you put Bethel in a special teams category in my mind. Verron McKinley, I think, could still be practice squad eligible.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of Elijah Campbell, again, he could be a player.
Elijah stepped up last year in ways that I thought were tremendous. And I don't think that if he were to go through waivers, because I think he'd have to go through waivers, I don't think he would pass waivers. I think he'd get picked up by another team. And
he certainly, I think, would.
And I like him. My thought is to keep 11 people in the secondary. There's just way too much talent. Way too much talent to not keep 11 people in the secondary, because you have guys that are in the secondary that are great open field tacklers. We talked about it yesterday when I had Color on in the last hour. We had a great conversation about players in the secondary that can open field tackle, players in the secondary that can blitz, play off the line of scrimmage. And then, you know, we talked about linebackers, and I'll talk about it with you with linebacking situation. How many of the guys in the linebacking situation can you see playing in open field coverage to cover a receiver? Not a lot, especially when you have all the talent that you have in the secondary. I just see a lot of 2 linebacking sets this year with Vic Fangio. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think that the linebacking depth is an issue. If you have to circle kind of any like concern area, if there is
the
one,
defense,
you know, it's the lack of depth interior linebacking presence. When you put the outside into the equation and your outside linebacking edge rushers and Chubb and Jalen Phillips, it's kind of a spoiler.
I don't think Chubb and Phillips are linebackers. They're edge rushers.
I like the edge rusher.
Them. I understand. I don't consider them linebackers personally.
Right.
If I'm talking about straight linebackers, it's David Long, Jerome Baker, Channing Tindall, Malik Reed, Duke Riley, and Aubrey Miller, and Cameron Good, and Andrew Van Ginkel.
Right. Now, Ginkel, throwing him into potentially on the inside.
Ginkel was the first person to get re-signed. By the way, you broke that news. Shout out to you, Jason Sarney, for breaking that news this offseason. But he was the first member to be signed by Fangio. The first person that Fangio signed was Van Ginkel. So he's 100% on the team. Not even a question. So David Long, Jerome Baker, Ginkel, Tindall, or I got to be honest, when it comes to just pure linebackers, I'm not talking about edge rushers. I think Tindall, Duke Riley, and Malik Reed all might be playing for one spot.
Here's the good thing about when you look at a guy. Well, Malik Reed is in because he's got ties to Fangio.
Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So then it's Tindall, Duke Riley, Cameron Good. And you can't count out
Cameron Good. Put Cameron Good out for a moment. I do not think Cameron Good is going to factor in. So take him out of the equation.
Aubrey Miller could be a dark horse.
But Channing.
So then it's Channing Tindall and Duke Riley. And are they playing for a spot that's even there?
I think Duke Riley is safe, very safe. I think Channing Tindall, like an Eric Ezukama, same thing applies for him. How did he spend his summer?
If you do that, you can't have 11 people in the secondary then. You got it. It's only going to go to 9, which means then somebody like Trill Williams.
Another player who I think could be practice squad eligible. Got to really, all these rules the last couple of years with who you can keep.
Elijah's definitely not making it in that case.
I don't believe so. Yeah, I don't believe so.
Justin, I'd like to Justin will. I mean, Verone McKinley's not making it. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. So Keon Crossing, Verone McKinley, Noah Igbenogany, Elijah Campbell, Trill Williams, Bryce Thompson, all the other rookies, Tino Ellis, they're all not making the team.
I'll tell you what, the best conversation we could have is as what we like to do and as fans is not being able to know who the worst people on the team are. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? It's like there are 6 or 7 or 8 players who might be on the chopping block that are very easily contenders to be players on other teams. And that is just a testament to the talent build overall.
Well, this team has improved so much in the last 2 years. Our number one running back 2 years ago was Myles Gaskin. He's the number 4 or 5 now. You know?
Correct.
And see how much has changed in 2 years, you know?
I want to put the cards up, Steven, before we get to time. I have a good idea. Why don't we do a lump? I got 4 cards here because I got 8 minutes, but I want to start to generate a little bit of action here.
All right. So just so y'all know, it's Spread Kindness Friday. 50% of all donations we are sending towards the Children's Heart Foundation is the cause that we're giving to today. This is because a child within the Bills Mafia community recently passed away, and their fans kind of came together, and the family's asking people to raise money for the Children's Heart Foundation. So that's what we're going to do there. So 50% of all donations will go towards that. So Jason's got a few cards to give away. Jason, I'm going to let you take over for the next 5 minutes and move you to the big screen, and you tell people how this is going to work.
Yeah, basically.
All on you. Don't add anything last second. So however you do it, just.
Yeah, we're going to do 4 and a lot. All right. And one of them we spoke about today. Fun card here because it's a different number. We got Christian Wilkins rookie card. So we'll throw a Christian Wilkins rookie card in there. Numbered 97 on practice jersey.
Are you doing one card at a time, or are we doing all 4?
The lot, it's for 4. So you're bidding on all 4.
Got it.
Right? The next one is his teammate on the defensive line, another rookie, and this time it's autographed. A little Raekwon Davis action. Autograph rookie.
So far I got a Christian Wilkins rookie and a Raekwon Davis autographed. I like it.
Correct. And now we're going to go into the old school. We're going to go back to my favorite time of life was being a teenager watching the Miami Dolphins. And 2 of the greatest people in the world who played for the Dolphins. One of them's a rookie card, and he's probably your next pure class Hall of Famer that the Dolphins will celebrate in all hopefulness. It'll be a Richmond Webb rookie card.
Shout out to Richmond.
Okay.
We might even be able to get that autographed down the road.
I'll tell you, man, he's done it before.
Richmond's
and I got
what. If whoever wins that, if they win it and they want it autographed, keep it with you to give to me the first time we see it, and I will make sure that Richmond gets it. I will make sure Richmond autographs it for them.
Richmond is the best
if they want that. Otherwise, they can just throw it in and that you can mail it all to them at one time.
It's part of the lot.
Yeah.
So we'll do that Richmond rookie. I'll get it in a better case here. And then I love this card. It's a fun card. It's one of the best dudes out there. OJ McDuffie. It's like a chrome kind of funky card. Skybox.
Ooh.
Yeah, like the Skybox.
Shout out to Juice and the Fish Tank. We love those guys.
And just to kind of.
They were just on Dolphins Talk. Shout out to Dolphins Talk too. They were just up there this
week.
Yep.
They had Seth and OJ on from the tank. So there are your 4 cards. And I'll tell you what.
Show them all in one time again.
We got. Hold on. We got the Rich rookie.
Richmond Webb rookie.
We got the Raekwon rookie. Oh my God! Imagine
that's autographed.
We got a Christian Wilkins rookie.
Yep.
And we got an OJ McDuffie. What do they call it? It's a Skybox.
It's a special card. It's
like it's called 1997 Metal Universe. You know, this is when he was, the league's leading receiver.
All right.
So
how do you want to do this, man? This is all however you want to do this. We can do it where you put a price on it and
I don't know exactly, what Bills Mafia and the family is doing up there. This is kind of a situation where anything that we can do, I really would love to do. So I'll tell you what, why don't we start it at $25 for the lot? If anyone wants to throw it there, we got couple minutes. And Steven, the cards, even if I got to bounce, raise it up until the show goes, and then just let me know what I got to do with them. But do
me a favor, take a picture of them in the front together and send me that picture, and I'll post it up on the screen after you leave.
I will certainly.
Yeah, so we'll start the bidding at $25. Anything you bid does get donated to the channel and the cause, but the highest bidder will obviously get it. So we'll start it at $25, and we'll do it like that.
I hate to do to put the cards up and bounce here, but just a couple more minutes, and then I gotta.
Don't forget to take that photo. That way I can just throw it up on the screen later. All right, so we'll start the bidding at $25. You guys can give on Cash App or PayPal, or you can also give right up here on YouTube. It is good stuff. All right, we're raising 50% of all the donations today are going towards the Children's Heart Foundation. We got amazing cards: a rookie card by Richmond Webb, rookie card that's autographed by Raekwon Davis, and a rookie card of Christian Wilkins, and an O.J. McDuffie 1997 Skybox Classic card. So that's going to be good too. So make sure you guys donate. It's going to a great cause, guys. It's Spread Kindness Friday. Let's raise some money. All right. $25 is the starting bid, right?
That works.
Got it. All right. All right. Last thing, since I only got you up here for a little bit longer, and then I'm going to bring on people one at a time to get their kind of takes on what we talked about today. If they agreed or disagreed with any of our takes. Ultimately, Jason, let me ask you, what do you think that the Dolphins are going to do going into training camp as far as these inter-squad practices are concerned? Last year, I think we got to see a lot of what the I remember the Eagles saying, hey, we thought we were going to play them in the Super Bowl. You know, is that kind of what the reaction should be from? I think we play the Bears this year, and I forget the other team who were.
It's the Falcons and the Texans that they're doing the joint
Falcons and
practices.
Texans. All right, never mind. It's not the
Bears. And yeah, I don't think each of those teams are going to say see you in the Super Bowl, not to be that guy. But what I want to see, literally, real quick, I want to see those fringe players work hard, see who makes the most of their opportunity to win a position in camp, and I want to see them get through healthy. And I do have to run because I got my conference call coming in, my guy.
All right, I got the photo. I am downloading it now. Thank you, my guy. I appreciate it. You're the man. And the winner will win that, and I will upload that to the thing. Now, go ahead, man. Get out of here. All right, Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. Just remember, $25 first bid to raise money for this amazing cause. These are the cards right here. Richmond Webb, Christian Wilkins, Raekwon Davis autograph, and O.J. McDuffie 1997 Skybox card. All right, so 50% of all the donations are going towards the Children's Heart Foundation. Guys, it's Spread Kindness Friday. Let's do it. Let's do it big, guys. Okay, I'm going to drop the link in the chat for you guys to get up here one at a time. And you guys, if you guys agreed with anything we said, or you have your own opinion about something, whatever it is, or you just want to ask me a question on my thoughts or feelings on anything that has to do with the Dolphins, let's do it now. The last 30, 45 minutes of the show is your show. It is a show that's made for the fans, by the fans, and that's what I'm doing. I just pinned the link to StreamYard to the top of the page, and you guys can get up here, and we'll have a good time for the last 30 or 40 minutes. What's going on? What do you guys have planned for this weekend, man? You guys got anything planned going on? Anything big in the household of any of y'all? It's Friday. It's so weird that July's like we're almost at the end of summer, and I feel like summer just began. But yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good to see. All right, let's see here. I'm waiting for you guys to get up in here. If you guys have a question, put it in the chat. Hashtag Ask Steven. If you guys want to ask a question, or if you guys want to get up here, whatever it is, this is your world. It's your oyster. Open it. Crack it open. Daniel Taylor said, going to see Mission Impossible this weekend, Stephen D. That looks like a great movie. Super excited. I think it'll be good. I'm waiting till next week comes out because I want to go see Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer looks really good. I'm a big Christopher Nolan fan. Anything Christopher Nolan does is money. Interstellar is like one of my favorite movies. Tenet is great. It's absolutely awesome. Guys, the link is pinned to the top of the page. Get up here. Hit the like button, by the way. Over 100 of y'all watching, only 42 likes. Hit the like button. I'm just waiting to see what you guys say. Steven, say the truth. You want to go see Barbie? I do not want to go see Barbie. My daughter does, though, so I might have to go. Actually, I think it's rated R, isn't it? I don't even think she can go see it. I heard it's rated R. Barbie movie. I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah. I know she saw the thing. She's like, "Oh my God, I want to go see that." And I'm like, "I don't know about that." It'll be good. DDG says Cillian Murphy's a great actor. Yeah, he is, man. Peaky Blinders, one of my favorite shows of all time. Great show. First few seasons are the best. Tom Hardy plays a great villain in that too. Villain / friend. It's really good. I like Tom Hardy. Thomas Shelby. That's right, Aqua Vision. Thomas Shelby. The Shelby brothers. Really, really good. All right, the link is pinned to the top of the page. Guys, I've been talking for 2.5 hours. Somebody get up here for the last 30 minutes of the show, or I'm going to have to end it early. And guys, donate to the channel. Help the channel grow and give to a great cause today. Let's go. We got Richmond Webb, Christian Wilkins, Raekwon Davis, OJ McDuffie. Kevin, hit up Jason Sarney at Jason_Sarney. He will get everything to you if it hasn't already. Kevin Lee, hit up Jason Sarney at Jason_Sarney. Okay, he will take care of you. All right. Wilkins rookie, nice. Yes, bid. The starting bid is $25, and it'll go up. So if somebody donates $25, they have the winning bid for that moment until somebody beats that. Let's do it. Let's do it big, guys. I'm waiting to see. And if anybody wants to get up here, how are these movies coming out if Hollywood is on strike? The movies are coming out because they've already been, everything's done. But they're not going to do like movie premieres or press junkets or anything like that. Because I know Oppenheimer had its opening last night or the night before in the UK, and the actors got up and walked out before the movie started. So, yeah, that was a big deal because Oppenheimer's got a crew, a huge cast. So, yeah, that was a big deal. I think the Marlins are here in Baltimore this weekend. I was thinking about going to see the Marlins play in Baltimore. I might go see the Miami Marlins play Baltimore Orioles reasons. I was about to say. Hey, Steven, another reason to always hate B-Flow. He kept Jabroni Davis on the team. Oh, my God. Y'all are funny. Too funny. All right, I guess you guys want to end the show early, man. What's up, man? It's supposed to be Spread Kindness Friday. Where y'all at? What are y'all doing? Drop the link one more time for you guys. Adam Sadowski said, let's go Marlins. Yeah, I was thinking about it. They play tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. I take my daughter. All right, first person. Robert, what's up, man? Good morning. Or, yeah, it's still good morning.
Hey, how you doing today, bud?
Pretty good, man. How are you? Happy Spread Kindness Friday to you, man.
I mean, it's Friday. Depends upon how many people I have to go argue with. But
what do you want to talk about? Floor is yours.
Let's see. So how do you rack and stack all the QBs in the league?
What do you mean?
If you had to give me ranks 1 through 15.
I will not do that because I am working on that for next week. I'm doing my last off season. I did my top 32 quarterbacks, and I'm going to do that again this year. I don't want to give it away.
It fell to Steven.
I don't want to give it away.
I didn't ask for all 32. I said 1 through 15.
I don't want to get. I don't know that off the top of my head. I'm still like working on the list itself. I'll say this: Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL, and like, I don't even know who I'd put behind him right now. You know, Burrow's up there. Jalen Hurts is up there. I don't know. Like, I really don't. Like, I feel like the league, it's very interesting right now, right? Like, I remember back in the day, you had to go to, you had Peyton Manning, you had, Phillip Rivers, you had Eli Manning, you had Tom Brady, you had, there were so many big names, and there's good names now, but I don't know how many of them are elite or like really great. Some of them are getting there. Some of them are just young and they just haven't gotten to that level yet. Burrow's been to a Super Bowl. Hurts has been to a Super Bowl. Trevor Lawrence is I think somebody that's starting to get there. Tua is in that same boat. I really do. I don't think Tua's top 10 yet, but I think he could be after this year if he stays healthy. So it's tough to say who the top 10 is for me, because I think it's Patrick Mahomes and then a huge drop off to everybody else. That's just how I see it. Flipside Fiston said, changing of the guards, a lot of new blood. You're right. All right, Robert, anything else before I let you go? I got a few other people in the back room, man. Hello. Good talk, Robert. Good talk. All right, let me bring in Crypto. Good morning, Crypto. What's up, man?
What's up, Steven? I disagree. Patrick Mahomes is an overrated quarterback. He's trash.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Tua is better than Patrick Mahomes. He had better numbers. So
please don't get off here with that. Crypto, you just triggered half the fan base.
Listen, we got the #1 rated quarterback in football.
Hey, Bob Young just donated $30. He goes, let's go. Need to add these to my 4-year-old nephew's collection. Yes, he has already been 100% brainwashed. Poor kid, LOL. Just a reminder, you guys, 50% of all the donations are going towards the Children's Heart Foundation. Right now, the winning bid is 30. Who wants to beat that? It is for these 4 cards right here. Rookie card of Richmond Webb, rookie card of Christian Wilkins, rookie card of Raekwon Davis that's autographed, and a 1997 OJ McDuffie card that's pretty dope looking. So guys, get up there. It's for a great cause, and we're doing it, man. Shout out to Bob Young. So right now the winning bid is 30. Who wants to beat 30? Crypto, what do you want to talk about this morning, man? Floor is yours.
No, I was messing around with you, but I do agree with you when you said Tua is not yet top 10 as far as his career. Yeah. But he was top 10 last year as far as if you just want to say that year alone, he was top 10. But
yeah, as far as his
overall career, he's not yet. But last year he was.
I like what I guess it was somebody just said that it's a changing of the guard. I don't know who just said that, but
you talking about as far as the position, like different guys moving up and down.
Just the quarterbacks in general. Right now, we're in a transition in the NFL for who the best quarterbacks in the league are. Right.
Remember, Tom Brady retired, so that automatically one position is gone. Everybody moves up by default because he left.
And I look at players like Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, and I feel like they're on the downside of their career. They're not on the upside, so it's tough for me to put them in the top 5.
Right? Because I need
to see how Aaron Rodgers does this year for me to say he's still top 5 in the league, which is funny because he's 2 years removed from an NFL MVP, right? So
that's why I can't say that yet, because 1 year can be an outlier,
And that's true, but my gut feeling is the same thing that I felt last year with Russell. And last year I felt Russell after his he had a bad year in Seattle. The year before that, he was an MVP candidate in Seattle. But then
but remember, Nathaniel Hackett is a train wreck.
Huh?
Nathaniel Hackett's a train wreck.
Oh, I agree with you, but who's the offensive coordinator in the Jets now?
But Russell Wilson right now has got he was with him in Green Bay, so he's back together with him. He had his MVP season with Nathaniel Hackett, so you never know.
Here's what I say, Crypto.
Aaron Rodgers, Nathaniel Hackett was there with him.
It is Patrick Mahomes 1, and then there's a huge drop off, and then there's everybody else. And I don't even know how to place 2 through 10.
Yeah, it's difficult after you get past Mahomes. It's kind of like You got a Harley Davidson motor. It's kind of like you got a Harley Davidson motorcycle, and then there's everybody else with bikes.
Well, here, let me just name some few things and why this is hard, right? I could say Hurts is right behind him, but before this season, Philadelphia Eagles fans were like, maybe Hurts isn't the answer. Maybe Hurts is not. There were a lot of Eagles fans. There were a lot of football fans in general that were like, yeah, Hurts.
It was an unknown before last year.
Yep. Yeah, 100%, right? So he had this MVP type season, takes him to a Super Bowl. Very easily could have won that Super Bowl, mind you. Let me just throw that out there. He played. Yeah,
he could have won it. That last call, I would have liked to see him get the ball last.
Yeah,
100%. I would like to have saw him got the ball last. That pass interference was bogus.
It was. So looking at that, I'd like to say Hurts is top 5, but is it fair? Just as you just said, a one season thing can be an outlier. That can work for a great season or a bad season, right? So I can think that Russell or Aaron is on the downside of his career because of the last year that he had. And I think it's fair to say that, especially with the year prior when Russell Wilson had an injury and was having a bad year. And then I was like, hey, look, I see what's going on. And then, but I think Burrow is probably right behind him, but Burrow hasn't won a Super Bowl yet, right? So
yeah, but he's been to 2 straight AFC championship games and a Super Bowl.
You're right. So
he's not declining.
He's not declining. And to be fair, I probably
Burrow's got an argument to be number 2. He can make an argument.
There's an argument for him at number 2, and there's the I just don't think Hurts is 2 yet. So
yeah, he's neck and neck with Burrow.
Can I put Hurts in the top 5 of the NFL?
Yes.
I think you can, because I don't know who else you're putting in there. Josh Allen hasn't won a big game yet. How can I put him in the top 5?
I mean, you can, because he just can't beat the Chiefs or the Bengals. Those are his boogeymans.
But
he's not getting past his own boogeymans.
But okay, so
it's just that one team, Steven, that you have a hard time with. Kind of think about it this way: Peyton Manning had a hard time with the Patriots, but he had beaten everybody else. Once he gotten past the Patriots, then that's how he got past his.
So I look at Josh Allen, and everybody's going to say I'm a hater. That's fine, but before Stephon Diggs came there, Josh Allen was questioned every which way to Sunday.
But that was because he was in this early part of his career. He's like a rookie,
and that's fair too, right? But let's say Stephon Diggs does end up leaving for whatever reason. I don't think it will happen, but let's just say it does. Let's play out the alternate universe where it does. I don't have a lot of faith that
there'll be a tight end centric team or Gabe Davis centric team. It'll be interesting. But remember, Gabe Davis did have that big game.
I am not putting Josh Allen in my top 3. Just not going to do it. I can't.
Why?
Because
you need to see it. You need to see it.
The closest he's gotten, he's been to the AFC Championship game once in his career.
Yeah. Right.
And I can't put him in the top 3. I don't even want to put him in my top 5.
But he's been.
If he's in the top 5, Crypto, is because there's nobody else that's stepped up enough yet. It's not.
Yeah, but we got to see how it plays out these next 2 years when it comes to Allen. If they don't play the Chiefs and they was somehow, God forbid, if they win it all and they just didn't play the Chiefs on their way there, would you judge them then because they didn't play good competition?
It's a good question.
What happens if they just avoided that boogeyman and they just found the way to get there and win it?
If he goes to a Super Bowl, yes, he's probably top 3 this year. He has to go to the Super Bowl this year. The Bills would have to go this year. Say,
okay,
Allen is a top 3 quarterback in the league. I'm just
that's
not going to
fair
right now,
because that would be him only making 1 Super Bowl. If he loses, of course, I will love that because that'll be 5 Super Bowl losses for that franchise.
But Crypto, let's say he loses to Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. You can't get mad at that. You're talking to a team that
if he loses to the Eagles
year prior.
Well, yeah, that'd be him losing to a good football team. That'd be just the NFC boogeyman.
Yeah. So it's.
But then, he will be bumped up into the top 5 or top 3 or whatever. Yeah.
I struggle saying he's a top 5 quarterback for many reasons, but I can also understand the argument to maybe put him at 4 or 5 because who the hell else is there right now? Like, I can't put Herbert in the top 5 yet.
Career-wise, there's a lot of people that's pushing, but if you think about the totality of their career,
Aaron Rodgers, I'd probably put Aaron Rodgers at
Aaron Rodgers because he's
right now.
He's actually have a Super Bowl title, even though it was 10 years removed.
But so last year, oh my God. So here, you know what I'll do real quick, Crypto.
What is his most recent Super MVP?
I'll show you what my list was last year. Do you want to see the list last year?
Yeah, last year. What was it last year?
All right,
was it based on Aaron Rodgers' MVP season?
Give me a second. I'll show you what it was last year. Let me find the list.
All right.
Let me find the list.
He should have been kind of high, be honest, because he had won an MVP. I think 2 MVPs in the last part of the 20 teens.
It was top 30. Here we go.
He did get off to a horrible start. Christian Watson had a bad freaking start of the season before he picked it up.
All right, so this was my list last year. Okay. This was my list last year. I had Patrick Mahomes 1, Aaron Rodgers 2, Stafford 3, Brady 4, Burrow 5, Allen 6, Lamar Jackson 7, Deshaun Watson 8, Dak Prescott 9, and Derek Carr 10. Okay. And then I had Russell and Justin Herbert outside the top 10. And I had Kirk Cousins and Kyler Murray and Jimmy Garoppolo, then Matt Ryan.
Okay.
I mean, this list is going to look totally different this year. I had Jalen Hurts at 22 before the season started. Now,
this was before the season.
10. This is before the season last year.
Oh man! Well, they made the playoffs. Steven.
The year prior.
Yeah. They got kicked out by the Buccaneers.
Yeah, but I didn't think Jalen Hurts was, this was before last year.
Yeah.
This list is going to look totally different this year. Kenny Pickett's not even going to be up there. Marcus May, and by the way, there were rules, right?
Well, so Jameis Winston, I don't know how he made it in your top 30.
So here's my metrics for last year's list. Before the season started, which is what this was.
You got Winston over Trevor Lawrence, Steven?
Hold on. Listen, I had, and not in any particular order. The 4 things I had were natural ability, past accomplishments, current team and scheme, and projected future ceiling. Right? That's all. I took all that into account. And I didn't have any quarterback from the same team up there. So it had to be the best quarterback on your team. So even if there was a backup somewhere that was better than maybe a starter somewhere else, I didn't throw that in there. Okay. So this was before last year.
Right, exactly. I could see why you had Deshaun Watson there because he had already put a lot on record before his suspension.
He did. I wouldn't put Deshaun there this year. I wouldn't.
Yeah, because he had a 6 games. He had a 6-game sample size.
Just looking at this list, Jalen Hurts would automatically go into top 10. He probably might even make top 5. Huge jump, right? Tua's moving to 11 or 12, I would bet. Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson, I think, are moving, if not completely out of the top 10, definitely down.
I think he's still up there. Career-wise.
Derek Carr's not in the top 10 anymore.
Career-wise, they're still top 10 as far as their career.
I had Zach Wilson over Jalen Hurts. Zach Wilson isn't even on this list anymore. Marcus Mariota's not on this list anymore. Davis Mills, he's not on this list anymore.
Steven, how can you put Zach Wilson over anybody on this list?
He's going to move up tremendously on my list this year.
How can you put Zach Wilson over anybody on this list?
Well, I mean, last year before the season started, there was optimism for him, right? There was let's wait and see what happens.
It was a wait and see approach. What about Sam Darnold?
Last year, I mean, I don't think I had Sam Darnold up here. No, I didn't have him at all. He wasn't a projected starter.
Oh, okay.
Or if he was, I didn't. I think that I had, I thought Kenny Pickett.
Carson Wentz. We like to use that phrase MVP conversation. Carson Wentz was in the MVP conversation before he got hurt. So where was he be on this list?
He was 23 at the beginning before last year started. He's probably not even in my top 30 now.
Nah, you can't say that. He was injured.
He's not. Who?
We lost to him, Steven. He beat us.
Okay, but I don't know.
That's a good accomplishment for him. If he beats the Dolphins, automatically you get credit.
All right, so next week will have my list up for this offseason going into this season, and it will look totally different than what it did with this. I'll give you one last look at it so y'all control me and make fun of me. But I think that before last year, this was a pretty good list. I don't think this was a bad list before last year.
That's a horrible list.
What are you talking about? We had no idea what Jalen Hurts and Trevor Lawrence were going to be before last year.
We did.
No, we did not.
We did know about Lawrence. He was coming up. He was winning a lot of games after he beat us in London.
In college?
No, he beat us in London, Stephen. That was a good accomplishment for him. He was coming up. He was up and coming. He had a good second half of the season. I thought he should have been in the teens. He should have been ranked like 15 or 14 ahead of Kyler Murray.
Man, I don't even. Yeah, this list is going to look a lot different. Tom Brady's not even on this list anymore.
Right, so everybody moves up by one slot because he's gone out the league.
No, that's not how this works. No, no. Matt Ryan's not on this list anymore.
What you mean?
Matt Ryan's not a projected starter anywhere. Desmond Ritter's going to be, not Desmond Ritter.
You sure Desmond Ritter's going to get the nod? I don't know about that.
Well, that's in Atlanta. Where's Matt Ryan at now? Is Matt Ryan in the league?
He was with the Colts.
Yeah, well, he's not. I don't think he's there now.
Richardson's going to be their starter. I'll tell you that much.
Richardson will be their starter. Davis Mills isn't starting in Houston because what's-his-face is going to start in Houston.
Shroud. CJ Shroud.
Yep.
And then and Bryce Young is going to be starting in Carolina.
Yep. And I didn't even have Carolina's quarterback up here last year because it was Sam Darnold. And I didn't think he should be in any way, shape, or form towards the top 30. And now this year,
Chosen Anderson said that was one of his favorite quarterbacks. He said he liked him.
Well,
Chosen Anderson was pounding the table for him.
It was not bad for the beginning of in last off season, but this list did not come to fruition at all. Like
I would put Trey Lance at number in the middle of the pack. I'm going to give him one more shot.
Brock is going to start next year.
No, he won't, Steven. He's hurt. Purdy. It's an open competition.
Oh man, look, I don't think it was. I think
Purdy caught lightning in a bottle. He caught the right teams at the right time. Lightning in the bottle,
my ass. Are you kidding me, Crypto?
Yes.
Please.
He caught it at the right time.
All right, Crypto. I got another person in the back room, man. Let me let you go.
Oh man, Steven.
Happy Spread Kindness Friday, man.
Spread kindness, man.
Love it. All right, Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. We're giving these 4 cards away. Jason Sarney is. It's a Richmond Webb rookie card, Christian Wilkins rookie card, Raekwon Davis rookie card that's autographed, and an OJ McDuffie 1997 card, which is it's really dope looking. The winning bid at the moment is Bob Young with 30. So if anybody wants to beat that by by anything, you could go 31 if you wanted to, or 35. Remember, 50% of all donations, because it's Spread Kindness Friday, is going to go towards the Children's Heart Foundation. And that's what we're raising money for today, the Children's Heart Foundation. If you have a great cause or a charity you want us to give to on Spread Kindness Friday, DM me at StephenDSKPL, and we will make that a future one of the future things that we raise money for on Spread Kindness Friday. I love doing that. It's one of my favorite parts of the show is Spread Kindness Friday and being able to give back. So let's do it, guys. Beat it, man. Beat it up here. All right. Crazy Dolphin. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, Stephen D?
Is this Mr. Polk?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Down
Mr.
here.
Polk, my guy. What's up, buddy?
Down in hot, sunny Miami, Florida.
You know, it's funny. I was texting Nikki Smokes, who just moved up to Chicago for Barstool. And he made a tweet yesterday saying I can get used to this no humidity thing. And I was like, yeah, I guess there's no humidity up there in Chicago. So we were talking about the heat in Florida in a text yesterday. It was pretty funny. It gets a little hot down there, just a little hot.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
What's up, man? What do you want to talk about today?
No, I just want to make two comments that as far as our roster go, the whole roster, this is one of the most talented rosters I've seen in a while. And I want to comment on. I want to piggyback on something you mentioned about Leonard Fournette. If we're not able to get Dalvin Cook, and also I'm quite happy with our running back roster as it is right now. If we're not able to get Dalvin Cook and Leonard Fournette is available, that's a good choice. That's a good choice to go get him. The second thing, because I'm not going to stay up here long. I know other people want to get on.
No, there's nobody else in the back room right now. It's all you, man.
Oh, okay.
Somebody else hops on. They can. The link is pinned to the top of the page. But go ahead, Mr. Polk. It's all you.
Oh, okay. My black horse player, I would love to see Channing Tindall learn the playbook, take a step up, and be that guy he was at University of Georgia. Because, man, that guy was a monster, as far as shadowing quarterbacks and with his speed running quarterbacks and running backs down. Man, if he can get to an NFL version of himself at Georgia, oh my goodness, we got us a great inside linebacker.
Look, I'll say this, in talking with Jason today, I thought it was really interesting. Was the fact that he was saying that there's like 8 linebackers that are going to make the team, and I just don't see 8 linebackers making the team.
That's too many.
I think that's way too many. Just looking at our lads, like David Long, Jerome Baker, or it's not 8. I'm sorry, 8's not the right word. So David Long, Jerome Baker, Andrew Van Ginkel, Channing Tindall, Duke Riley, Malik Reed. That's 7. There's not 7 linebackers that are making this team. In my opinion, it's 4 or 5. And it'll be David Long, Jerome Baker, Andrew Van Ginkel. And then the final spot, if it's 4, it'll be between Channing Tindall, Malik Reed, and Duke Riley. If it's 5, Malik Reed will make the team, and it will go to Duke Riley and Channing Tindall between those two.
What you think about what's his name? Audrey Miller.
Aubrey Miller's from Jackson State. I talked about him yesterday with Color on the show. Shout out to Color. I like Aubrey Miller. I think he's a dark horse. I just don't know if there's a spot for him, but I think he'd be a great practice squad guy.
Okay. Yeah.
I think he'd be a perfect practice squad guy. I'd love to see Aubrey Miller make the practice squad for the Dolphins. I'm excited to see him in the preseason. I hope he gets a lot of snaps in the preseason. A guy that I really loved, I even have his jersey, is Sammy Guavon, and I'm going to miss him. I don't even know where he went, but Sammy Guavon to me was good. I feel like when he came into the game, he was Sammy Guavon's a free agent. He's not even, that's funny. He's a free agent. I feel like when he came into the game, he made a difference, right? He didn't get into the game that often because the people in front of him were probably better. But I feel like even if you have talent, that in a roster as talented as this, talent alone is just not going to let you make this squad.
Exactly.
You're going to have to really have your talent, understand the playbook, be able to be, and that's great. And that means that as a franchise, we're evolving, we're getting better.
Yeah.
When, you know, and Jason alluded to it earlier in the show, you know, if I'm having to cut Keon Crossan because he's a camp casualty, but because I know I have good talent that it's not going to hurt us. Keon Crossan's a very talented player.
Exactly.
But if we can cut him and it doesn't hurt our team, that means we're doing things right. If we can cut somebody like Duke Riley, who I think is a very talented linebacker, we're doing things right. But if we retain somebody like Noah Igbenogany, who's had an unlimited amount of chances, who in 3 years has had one good game, in my opinion, what the hell are we doing? If Noah stays and Trill Williams goes, I would be pissed.
Oh, I would too.
I would be so pissed off if that happens.
After what I've seen with Trill Williams before he got hurt, no. I would be hurt also. But you know, the thing is, it's gonna sound funny, but it's a good problem to have.
It's a great problem to have. When you're cutting good players, it's a great problem to have. Now, to be fair, Mr. Polk, Dolphins fans have PTSD, right? So if we cut a player that ends up being good somewhere else, Dolphin fans first thing are going to go, oh, we knew we should have kept him. Oh, I knew he was going to be great, or blah, 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 blah. The Dolphins, in order for that not to come to fruition where the fans are second guessing the cuts that we made, they need to win football games this year.
All right.
And that goes to the previous statement that I was saying with Jason earlier in the show. The only thing that kind of makes this fan base not tear each other apart is winning and consistent winning against good football teams.
Exactly. Well, you know, the thing with me, because I had to learn this when remember when we had Gerald Dokes. Okay, I had to learn when we brought in Gerald Dokes that you can't
the running
get
back, right?
You can't get to these players because the NFL is a business.
It is,
and whether we like it or not, you know, it's up to the office and the coaches to decide if we're going to keep a player or not. So that's my state of mind right now as far as our team goes. That if the player can't contribute to us and help us to win, then we have to move. We have to move off of them whether we like it or not. So that's why, like I say, I try not to get too attached to a player. I like Channing Tindall, but I'm not going to get too attached to him because, you know, if we're not able to keep him, then we have to let him go, and hopefully he'll get a starting position somewhere else. So that's how I see that, and that's what I would advise to, and you know, any Dolphin fan, don't get too emotionally attached to these players like I did. You know.
Well, that's what we do as fans. We get emotionally attached to these guys, though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because like I said, I like Channing Tindall, but you know, at the end of the day, he, you know, good as he may, he was at Georgia, and he's having a problem with the playbook. He may not make the team. So, you know, with that being the case, unfortunately, we have to move on.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're 100% right. I was trying to find Channing Tindall's contract here on Over the Cap. I don't see it. But one of the things that you know, the reason that Noah Igbenogany got a chance to be on this team for as long as he has is because of the contract that he had. There's Channing Tindall's thing. So Channing Tindall, post June 1st, is a $212,000 cut. You are not losing anything by cutting Channing Tindall. Everybody thinks we're invested in him because we drafted him. And that's fine. He was a third-round pick. Great. And the Dolphins historically, over the last 10 years with Greer, I think are probably at 65, maybe 70% on hitting third-round picks. Okay? But let me tell you right now, if Fangio likes Malik Reed, and Duke Riley, and they're only keeping 5 linebackers, Channing Tindall's not going to be he's going to be the odd man out. He's going to go.
Exactly. And that's why I say it's a business.
Fangio, I like to think, I don't know this, but everybody says Fangio is the head coach of the defense. Fair. I'll concede to that notion. But let me tell you right now, Fangio's not keeping a player because he was drafted by the Dolphins in the last 2 years. And Greer, if Fangio does not want the guy and he's not going to fit his offense, he gone. That's why I think Noah's finally gone. That's why I think Channing Tindall could be gone. If they do not fit this offense, they will not be on the 53. It will not happen.
Right.
It won't.
Right. And that's why I say it goes back to being the NFL is a business. It's a business. So you can't get emotionally attached to these players. So, like I said, we have to move on and we're having, but with the talent that we have on this team, oh my goodness.
I think to Jason's point earlier, Mr. Polk, this is probably the most talented team we've had since the early 90s. And you can make the argument that it might be the most talented team since the 70s. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying you can make the argument.
No, I can understand it because I was, like I said, I was watching football a little bit, should I say, about 5 years after the Dolphins organization came to be. And to see the 70 Dolphins with Don Shula and with all the players on there, yes, that's not off saying that because with the talent we have today compared to back then, I know it's a different era, but yes, we are very talented, highly talented on both sides, on 3 sides, offense, defense, special teams. So yes, that's a correct statement. That's how I feel. I feel that right now we our rosters in the top 3. I'm not good with stats, but I'm going by what I'm saying.
You think this is the 3rd best roster that the Dolphins have ever had?
The 3rd best? Ooh.
Is that what you said? I thought that was I hearing you wrong? I thought that's what you said.
No, I'm saying that what I'm saying is that right now in the NFL.
Oh, you think it's top 3 in the NFL?
Right,
Rob.
in the NFL. Oh man, definitely.
On paper,
maybe even higher than that.
On paper, I don't have an argue with that, but that's on paper, right?
Right.
We have to execute it. We still have not won a playoff game since 2001.
Right.
We still have to win an AFC East title without using tricks to win the AFC East title and Tom Brady not playing that year. Right. We still have to be able to beat the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. All of those things need to happen for me to say, you know what? Yeah, this is it. This is the team. So on paper, yes. Optimism and hopium, as I like to put it, yes. I have never been more hopeful for a Miami Dolphins team.
Yeah.
But they have to execute it this year. Yeah. And if they do, even the haters or the people that are the most pessimistic, even the most pessimistic fans, if the Dolphins win this year, they can't argue too much because we have the 2nd hardest schedule. We would have had a quarterback that overcame injuries. We would have had a defense that is one of the best defense I think ever assembled in the last 30 years in the NFL. Personal opinion. Okay. So I think that this defense could potentially be better than the early 2000 Dolphins team.
Yeah.
And the early 2000 Dolphins teams, that defense was amazing. Brock Marion, Patrick Surtain, Sam Madison, obviously Zach Thomas and Jason Taylor. Absolutely amazing teams in those early 2000s, right? But this defense has an opportunity to do that. Jalen Phillips is that Jason Taylor type guy, right? Yeah. I'd like to. I don't know if we have a Zach Thomas per se, but Fangio's linebackers tend to do very well, right? And the secondary. Oh my God, Xavier Howard, Jalen Ramsey, Javon Holland, Cater Kahoo, Brandon Jones. I would like for 20 years from now that we're saying those guys the way we say Brock Berry and Patrick Surtain, Sam Madison. And that's what I want to hear.
Right.
I want this to be one of the glory days of the Dolphins. I want to live in the glory days right now.
I hear you on that.
Somebody made the joke earlier. Bob Young, who's got the highest donation right now of $30. If you guys want to beat that, these are the cards. The highest bid is 30. Remember, 50% of all donations go towards the Children's Heart Foundation today, guys. It's a great cause. Donate to the channel. Let's go. But what I'll say to it is, he said it right. He said my 4-year-old nephew's already been brainwashed. I want my children I want them to be in a position where this is the team that they fall in love with the Dolphins on because they're so good.
Yeah. Like I did back in the 70s.
I my dad was a Dolphins fan. He grew up with Marino, or grew up and liked them because of the early 70s teams, right? And then I was born in '88. Marino was already well into his career. By the time I was 6 or 7 years old, my dad was watching Dolphins games on the couch and loving Dan Marino. Dan Marino was one of the first things that I can remember as a Dolphins fan, right? But I like them because of Dan Marino and probably fell in love with them because of Dan. But to be honest with you, Dan got me hooked. My dad and Dan Marino got me hooked to the Dolphins. But Jason Taylor and Zach Thomas and Trace Armstrong and Patrick Surtain and Sam Madison and Brock Marion, they made me fall in love with the Dolphins.
I hear that.
And that's what I want for my kids. I want Cater Kahoo, Javon Holland, Xavier Howard, Cam Smith, Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
Andrew Van Ginkel, Jalen Phillips, Zach Seiler, Christian Wilkins. I want my kids to be able to say those names with the same enthusiasm that I say those teams from the early 2000s with. That same love. My eyes gloss over when I think of those early 2000 defensive teams.
Yeah.
And that's just what I want to be able to do. And so I'm
all in on that.
Yeah.
Because like I said, even when we had our losing season, and I mentioned this on the platform where we finally won our, if I'm not mistaken, our one game. I treated that win as like a Super Bowl. I was just so happy that we won that so-called one game. But like I said, with me, I'm all in on the Dolphins. I'm not, we have our ups and downs, but I'm all in on the Miami Dolphins and always will be. So my thing is that, I have to learn from the old school way of looking at the Dolphins to the new school, to the how should I say, the new school. Learning, sitting down and looking at stats and understanding plays and all that. I have to really kick up the my learning key on that because like I said, I'm behind, and then also with the lack of having YouTube back in the days, that contributed to a great deal as well.
100%, Mr. Polk. 100%. All right, Mr. Polk, any final thought there before I let you go?
I appreciate you coming on today. Hey, I enjoy you having me. If you're down here in Miami, please drink plenty of
liquids if you're in South Florida in this heat. It's real. The heat is real.
Yeah, the heat is real. But let's go Dolphins.
Let's go Dolphins, Mr. Polk. I appreciate it, man.
Let's get going.
I love it, man. Be good, Mr. Polk.
All right, take care of that.
All right, Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. This is final call. This is last final thought of the day here. I want to remind you guys for the next couple of minutes, if you guys want to get in on this, the highest bid is $30. All you got to do is donate more than $30, and you get a chance to get up on this. Richmond Webb, Christian Wilkins, Raekwon Davis autographed, all rookie cards there, and then an OJ McDuffie 1997 Skybox card, which is pretty dope. And so right now the winning bid, believe it or not, is from Mr. Bob Young at $30. But look, guys, the goal is to try to raise some money here. 50% of all donations are going to go towards the Children's Heart Foundation today. And that's the money that's who we're raising money for on Spread Kindness Friday. Remember, each and every Friday, 50% of all donations go to a great cause or a great charity. That's what we do here on the podcast network on Fridays. It's a way for us to give back, which is ultimately what we want to do. We want to be able to grow. We want to be able to give back. And your donations help us do that. So it's absolutely amazing thing that I want to do more of and get more involved with giving back. I think I haven't announced this yet, but I will in the coming weeks about a Dolphins Cancer Challenge official team for Miami Sports Music, and us being involved in the DCC officially this year with our own squad, and not necessarily raising money for somebody else's squad, but getting involved in our own and being a part of that. So I'm just trying to do everything I can to give back to what I get from this show on a day in, day out basis, not only in monetary wise, but just in life, man. If I have a platform to be able to do something better, I want to be able to do that. So it is Spread Kindness Friday. That's what Spread Kindness is all about. Because there's a lot of negative in this world. There's a lot of hate in this world, and there needs to be more kindness. And I feel like if I show that an example that maybe that will catch on to other places and more people will be like that. That's all I want to do. That's all I want to be. I hope that you guys enjoyed the show today. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It was shout out to Jason Sarney for the cards that he donated for this, as well as coming on and having a great show with me today. Next week is going to be awesome. Monday we'll be back. We'll be live. Tuesday will be Hot Take Tuesday. I will have a special guest in the coming weeks. Hot Take Tuesday will have a special guest every week to have hot takes with me. That's going to be the goal for Hot Take Tuesday, and then Wiling Out Wednesday, and then Cameron Scott will return on Thursday. And then, as always, Spread Kindness Friday will be with Jason Sarney. So I love you guys. You guys are the best fans in the world. Enjoy the weekend. Spend time with your family, okay? I don't know what you're going to do, but do it with your family. It's all about the family. It's all about the family, all right? Well, it looks like, unless somebody else donates last second here, it looks like my man Bob Young won this. Bob Young, if I get out of here and you're the last person to donate before the show ends, you're going to win it, man. And, you just need to get up with Jason on social media at Jason_Sarney, and he'll mail those things out to you. Kevin Lee, if you're watching, hit up Jason Sarney too. He'll make sure he'll get everything you need. And, yeah. All right. I love you guys. You guys are the best fans in the world. I hope to see you all on Monday. Let's let this thing grow. Tell the people about the show, even this weekend. Tell them to go rewatch the show. Hit the like button on shows you didn't watch. Go back and rewatch us this weekend. Let our views go up. Can't grow without y'all's help. I love y'all. Y'all the best fans in the world. Peace. Fins up.
I don't want to overhype, but I just know I like it. So excited. You gonna notice now. You should notarize it. They say 2 are from that rock. Shout out to Samoa and now it's time to lay the smack down. You think you Dwayne Johnson. Time to beat